Well, Happy New Year's, and there's one from Aaron Rodgers to all of you at home. Able to sit this one out. Of course, the Packers will have a bye next week, and he has company on the inactive list today. 4 Pro Bowl players for Green Bay. Among some big-time names will not be in action, including Charles Woodson.
Well, as we said earlier, they got done what they needed to get done during the week in terms of their practice tempo. But right now, the key for Green Bay is they want to be physical. This is obviously a division rival, but by the same stake, they have got a lot more out in front of them. They want to stay as healthy as they can. That's a tough balance to play physical, play passionate, but play healthy.
Well, what a job Jim Schwartz has done in his 3rd year in Detroit. He's led the Lions to their best record since 1995 and their first playoff appearance since 1999. Pat Lee waiting for the kickoff. Another one of the inactives for the Packers today. Their outstanding return man, Randall Cobb. So Hansen puts a foot on it. We're underway at Lambeau Field. And juggling as Lee drops a ball in the end zone, and it is fumbled out of the end zone. So a break for the Packers as they'll get the ball at the 20-yard line. Well, speaking of the way these two teams are approaching this game, let's check in with more with Laura Oakman.
Tom, you talked about how the Lions are viewing this as a critical game. I talked to Nate Burleson, who said, we have not been afforded the luxury of taking a game off. We don't want this to be a special season. We want this to be the start of something special. That means creating a winning habit. We have been exercising demons all season. He said the next one we want is this 20-year losing streak in Green Bay.
Well, you're not lying about 54. That. Packers have won 20 in a row in the state of Wisconsin, the streak that began back in 1992. So making his first start of this season, second career start, is Aaron Rodgers' backup, Matt Flynn. And his first pass right on the money to Donald Driver. Take a look up front. They're going to find out if Chad Clifton is healthy enough to play in the postseason. He's been out since early in the year.
And that's one of the big things that's got to happen today. Obviously, with the injuries along the offensive line, they want to see how Chad Clifton's going to come back, how they play in combination. Also, Matt Flynn, they're going to give him a chance, obviously, to air it out to a degree. I think we're going to see a lot of the running game, like we said earlier.
We got to push it. We got to push it. 2-Jet 54.
After the gain of 17 on first down, Flynn hit as he threw, and is that a catch on the sideline? It is by Jordy Nelson, who has posted career highs in every statistical category this year. Was this a catch?
Now it looks like he didn't get that other foot down. In the old days where a force out might have been called, here you got to get both feet in. I don't think this is a reception. And that's what they've ruled on the field.
Flynn has appeared in 4 games, all of them blowouts this year. He's only made 1 NFL start. That's after Aaron Rodgers suffered a concussion against these Lions last year. The next week, Flynn started in New England, threw 3 touchdown passes in that game. And he's looking for the big one. And it's incomplete. 3rd and 10.
I think we're already seeing a little bit of the effect of the change in their personnel for Green Bay. Normally, Mike McCarthy is constantly rotating personnel, formations. Their MO is to give you as many different looks in the first 15, 20 plays as they can. But obviously, due to some of the injuries, what they're trying to do, I think we're going to see a much more condensed or subdued game plan from the Packers and Mike McCarthy.
Ball is loose, still loose, and it looks as though Detroit has recovered, and the Lions indeed have it. Stripped away by Sammy Hill, and it looked like DeAndre Levy was there to cover it up.
Pressure from the Detroit Lions. This has always been their hallmark, and their ability to do it with just a 4-man rush. They were able to get home here. You're going to see Watch this stunt on the backside with Van den Bosch putting pressure inside. He has to step up. They work as a group together. This is exactly what the Detroit Lions needed. They want control of this game. They want control of it early, so the Packers recognize this is not something we want to do today.
So now Matthew Stafford in his third season out of the University of Georgia. It's the first year he has stayed healthy the entire year. And boy, has he put up some big numbers, and this is Kevin Smith. And that's a gain of close to 7 on first down. So many weapons at the disposal of Stafford, and his offensive line has been pretty doggone good the entire year.
And that's been a big part of their success. Outside, obviously, Calvin Johnson, but the 2 tight ends, Pettigrew and Scheffler, always a key, particularly as we approach the red zone here.
Stafford delivers a strike, and inside the 10-yard line, that's his favorite target, Calvin Johnson, his 86th catch of the year, closing in on 1,500 receiving yards.
Well, it's one-on-one coverage here, and anytime they can get that with Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford's going to get the ball to him. Green Bay has not been able to generate a lot of pressure this year, so they have to bring a lot of linebacker and DB pressure to get it. That creates the one-on-one they're looking for outside.
Defended beautifully by Shields. The intended target, Nate Burleson. We talked about some of the big names out of the lineup today for Green Bay defensively. They do have Ryan Pickett back after suffering a concussion in Oakland, but no Clay Matthews and no Charles Woodson.
And as I said earlier, that's part of the issue. Particularly without Clay Matthews, they're going to have to manufacture the pressures. We're going to see more DB blitzes, more linebackers coming from that second level. That's going to create those one-on-ones we talked about.
On a 2nd and goal. And it's caught in the corner of the end zone by Titus Young, and that's a touchdown for the Lions.
Matthew Stafford recognizing the one-on-one on the backside. They doubled up on Johnson on the other side. So even though this is a great matchup with Sammy Shields, Titus Young is one of those guys, good athletic receiver with great hands. This is just the way Detroit wants this game to go, scripted just the way they want it. I don't know if I'd be jumping up in there too often, though.
Of course, he found a spot where there were a couple of Lion fans down there.
A lot of Honolulu blue in that corner.
37 touchdown pass this year by Stafford. And quite remarkably, he's not going to the Pro Bowl. But a 7-0 lead for Detroit. Now, Brian, we're so fortunate this time of year come rolling into Green Bay, Wisconsin, and Lambeau Field. Doesn't get much better than that. For these Lions, it's been a nightmare. They haven't won here in over 20 years. But look what they've done after forcing a turnover.
And that's huge on the year. Again, remember that these Detroit Lions, where they're coming from, they're just 2 seasons removed from 0-16 season.
That ball, did he bring that back from over the goal line? No. They're going to talk about it. There's not been a signal, an official signal given yet for a touchback. I'm not so sure this is not going to be a safety.
If that ball rolled outside and then came back, that may be exactly what happened.
Walt Coleman, our referee today. Boy, you get a look at how valuable a backup return man can be. Pat Lee today for...
The ball came completely out of the end zone. The receiver pulled it back into the end zone. Safety.
There it is. Talked about Randall Cobb inactive today. So Pat Lee is badly mishandled the first 2 kickoffs in this game. There it is. Brought it back in from just outside the goal line. And that is 2 points for Detroit to make it a 9-0 lead, and the Lions are going to get the ball back.
Well, of all the inactives that we talked about that could possibly be for this game, Randall Cobb is a big one. The Green Bay Packers have struggled on special teams the last couple years. They've progressively gotten better to where they're a top 10 in both kickoff return and punt return. So Randall Cobb not
previous play is under review.
And they're going to see the same thing we saw. But obviously special teams a big part of the improvement for Green Bay. And not having Randall Cobb up this game could be a factor. We've already seen it here. key here is obviously first, as you can see, it hits him, comes right off his shin. Now the key is, does the ball clearly come all the way out of the end zone, out past the goal line? It does. As he reaches up, he's now brought it back from the field of play. You can see right there clearly, and now he's inside.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands.
Well, let's check in back in our command center at Fox in Los Angeles. Mike Pereira, did they get that call correct?
Hey guys, they sure did. Forget about the position of the body. It's all about the ball, and it's still a kick since he muffed it back into the field of play. If he gains control in the field of play, which he did beyond the goal line, and brings it back in, it's on him. He's deemed to have brought it back into the end zone, so it is a safety. Good call on the field and the right use of replay just to review to make sure that that whole ball was out in the field of play.
Mike, you're always so serious when we talk to you about these things. It's nice to see you smile every now and again. Happy New Year, young man.
Hey, same to you guys. It's been fun being with you all year long.
You never got along with Mike Pereira so well as you do now.
He's my best buddy. I mean, what you could buy your friends. I bought that friendship 75 grand worth.
Well, it's been blown dead on the free kick already. Tim Mastey, their punter, racing back to talk to one of the officials all the way back at the 40-yard line.
Ball was never made ready for play.
Tom, what we're seeing is instant after instant Green Bay's mental focus for this game, whether it's the return game, whether it's the kicker going before he was giving the ready-to-play signal, the matchups down on the goal line. Right now, if I'm Mike McCarthy, I'm concerned about the mental focus. Forget about the physical or the passionate side of the game. That's got to come. Right now, I don't have the mental focus I need in order to try to attempt to win an NFL football game.
You know, Mike McCarthy told us a lot about this Green Bay team with a win today. No Packer team has ever gone undefeated during a season inside the division, but it's a little hard to sell your team on that idea when you're sitting down 4 or 5 of your biggest stars in the game.
Yeah, but you got to find that hook. You got to give them something to hang their hat on as to why they want to come out and play hard today.
Logan returns the kick up to the 38-yard line. Stafford right back out there with a 9-0 lead. We talked about what's at stake today. The Lions trying to be that number 5 seed in the NFC playoffs, and they can nail that down with a win, along with ending the 20-year win streak for the Packers in the state of Wisconsin. And we mentioned sweeping the NFC North. The Packers with a win would do just that.
But those are all secondary goals because their eye is on the prize. Detroit wants that 5th seed. And obviously Green Bay wants to stay healthy and fresh as they first come out of it after the bye in the divisional round.
Smith slips across the 40 up to the 41-yard line. That'll be a gain of 3. Of course, the Lions are hoping that Smith can stay healthy through this game. We mentioned the Packers are off next week as a number 1 seed. The Lions will play next week. Where will they play is the key question.
The Lions kick into a no-huddle, trying to change the pace of this game.
Stuffed right at the line of scrimmage by Desmond Bishop. With Smith, it'll bring up 3rd down and 8.
Interesting move by the Lions to go in and out of the here. Obviously, they want to get a more orchestrated 3rd down call. But we said coming in, what? They were going to put everything in the bucket. They need this game badly. It's a lot easier to get your team motivated and focused, obviously, on a week where they've got so much at stake. And we've already seen it with a little uncharacteristic no huddle early in this sequence.
We're barely 3 minutes into the game. And it's incomplete. Looked like Stafford threw that one off his back foot. Under pressure from Brad Jones, so 3 and out.
Just a good solid, like I said, you got to manufacture a different rush, a late rush by the Packers, kind of a delayed 3-man rush coming off the edge. Matthew Stafford's having a heck of a season. He obviously now the key is to keep this momentum as they go into the playoffs.
Ben Graham out to punt it. Jordy Nelson stands back at the 15-yard line. Favorable bounce for the Lions, and it will roll down to the 17-yard line and be down, and a flag comes in. Right in front of the Green Bay sideline at the 30-yard line.
Personal foul, number 58 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. First down.
Well, the Lions have done a lot of that this season. Much better field position for Mike McCarthy's Packers.
This is just a dumb penalty by Ashley Palmer. Watch this. The ball is clearly going down. This is a late hit from behind, far removed from where the ball is going down. These are the kind of dumb penalties that have hurt the Detroit Lions. 30th personal foul this season. That's just dumb. That's most in the NFL.
Matt Flynn getting a start at quarterback, and a delay to Ryan Grant that did not fool Detroit defensively. A gain of a yard. Lawrence Jackson healthy again, making the tackle there, and they're going to be leaning hard on this secondary as they're starting to get healthier. Chris Houston returned last week. They hope to have Louis Delmas back for the playoff.
Yeah, not having Delmas and Aaron Berry. They are a little shorthand on the back end. The good thing for them, as we've seen, they can put pressure with just this four-man rush to protect their secondary.
So Michael Finley looking for a flag that doesn't come. It'll bring up third down and 9, and let's check in with Kurt Menefee back in Los Angeles.
Well, Carolina's won 4 of its last 5, partly due to this combination. Cam Newton hooking up with Steve Smith. 12-yard touchdown. They have evened it at 7 apiece in New Orleans. Of course, Tom and Brian, it's a big game for the Saints because they still have a shot at the number 2 seed, and St. Louis leads San Francisco 7-0 right now.
I think a lot of people forget about that. There's still a chance that could flip-flop by day's end. Should the 49ers lose in St. Louis and New Orleans win, the Saints would become the 2nd seed. Very close to a first down. It depends where they spot it. On the catch by Jermichael Finley, and we shall see. It is right there snuggled up against our yellow line, which is not the official line, and now they say first down.
Well, I don't know that I don't call for a measurement on that if I'm not Jim Schwartz. Detroit's been pretty good on third down defense. Finley needed to be a little smarter about the depth he sets down to get that so it's not as close.
Ryan Grant again, this time a gain of close to 4, wrapped up by Justin Durant.
Well, you can just see here now, it's just a little draw play out of their 3 wides alignment. Like we said earlier, nice job coming up for the tackle. Durant stepping up, taking on the lead block. We said that Green Bay wanted to run the ball. They are not substituting people. This is different for them. They're taking a much more straightforward approach than they have all year long.
Set up the screen under heavy pressure was Flynn. Dominican Sue breathing right down his throat. And a third down upcoming for Green Bay. Of course, many remember the Thanksgiving Day play that occurred, and it led to a 2-game suspension with Dominican Sue for stomping on Green Bay offensive lineman Evan Dietrich Smith. A very ugly play. In really the first of 2 very ugly games for the Lions, against Green Bay, then the following week against the New Orleans Saints. But Sue, a few days later, apologized. He called Evan Dietrich Smith, said he was sorry, and both players say no hard feelings going into this one today. Flynn escapes trouble and finds Nelson for a first down to the 37-yard line. That's the way Matt Flynn used to do it the last time he regularly played, when he led the LSU Bengal Tigers to a national championship of college football.
Well, they just one-on-one on the outside, but it breaks down as Flynn leaves the pocket. They've got jammed up, pretty good coverage there, but as the pressure broke down and Flynn was able to get outside, Jordy Nelson able to use that size and work himself to the sideline.
Grant Strong running inside the 30, down to the 29-yard line, a gain of 7.
You get outside the pocket right here now as he goes down. Boy, that head bounces off the turf. It always concerns you, particularly on a field that's cold, not necessarily frozen. They've got an elaborate way of keeping this field warm. But obviously with Aaron Rodgers on the sideline, the last thing they want to see is something happen to Matt Flynn.
You're wondering, Graham Harrell is the backup quarterback to Flynn here today. 8th play of the drive, and Ryan Grant's been busy. And it looks like he has enough for a first down. Needed to get to the 26.
The Detroit Lions put a heavy premium on pressure on the quarterback, getting turnovers, but they have been gashed in the run a little bit. Now, obviously, their offense, that productivity, but that's something that they've got to work on going into the playoffs, and I know the Green Bay Packers would love to take advantage of with this wide 9 defense, those wide alignments by the ends. There are yards to be gained in these wide gaps of the defense.
Pitch and catch again, Flynn with Jordy Nelson, and he's run out of bounds at the 20-yard line, a gain of 6.
Jordy Nelson may be the best. Hey, look at those eyes on the ball all the way to the finish. The Packers have rebounded a little bit here. Their focus picking up since the mishaps earlier in the first quarter, obviously here with the goal line and led to the safeties. The punt that went off early. We're seeing a little bit sharper focus now, a little bit sharper movement by the Packers.
Talked about Nelson after his first catch of the day. He has just had an outstanding year, the 11th most receiving yards in the NFL this year. And hit as he threw is Flynn. And it lands in the end zone with not a Packer in sight. He took a big hit from Kyle Vanden Bosch.
You knew they were going to bring pressure. Detroit made it very clear. Whoever was at quarterback, they were going to bring as much pressure as possible. Looked like Matt Flynn thought he thought Finley was going to break in rather than out. Got away with a little brush to the face mask there. That's an option route by the tight end where he can go to the post or the corner. He zigged when he thought he should have zagged.
Packers have converted both third downs on this drive and make it a third. First and goal, Green Bay on the catch by Finley.
This is why quarterbacks love tight ends, just the sheer size. Just get it within reach. It doesn't have to be a huge window. Finley's got the great hands, the great arm reach, the great size. Is going to match up one-on-one with any linebacker or safety the Lions want to put on him.
So Matt Flynn looking very sharp in this his first start of this 2011 year. Only the second start of his NFL career. And of course that red zone offense is all about Aaron Rodgers. And he's not in there.
Well, I mentioned earlier that the Green Bay Packers to open a game are always about Mike McCarthy. It's his signature. Multiple personnel groupings, multiple formations, and they're not doing that at all. We've only seen Kuhn and Grant go in for one another, and they've stayed primarily in the same formations. Not a lot of shifting, not a lot of motioning. A lot of that has to do, they want to get that clock running too. They are bored watching as well. They don't care about scores. They're watching that clock. They want that thing to not stop.
319.
Batted into the air and incomplete. Donald Driver, the intended target. So it'll bring up a third down and goal for Green Bay.
These teams are so familiar with one another, you question whether how much even a change in tactics would make a difference. If these were two teams that weren't and had the possibility, they may see each other again in the playoffs. Will you do something to set up the playoff game? No, these two teams are too entirely familiar with one another. They're just playing this thing straight up. They face each other in the playoffs. They'll deal with that when that comes.
Flynn 5 out of 12, 63 yards, and on a third and goal, he dumps it off to the Pro Bowler John Kuhn, who's tackled at before, and out comes Mason Crosby and the Green Bay field goal unit.
That's a nice drive by the Packers. If for no other reason, they kind of got their rhythm back. That's a long way to go. That's a lot of plays to run without a mistake. Mike McCarthy's got to feel like maybe they've got their wits back about them.
Crosby this year has hit on 21 of 25. This will be from 22 yards out. And it is good. 9-3. Detroit in front.
Well, whether it's Aaron Rodgers or Matt Flynn, the Green Bay philosophy is touchdown to check down. Check in the end zone, eyes down the field. Where's Finley? Where's Driver? Where's Nelson? No, I'll drop it off to Kuhn if I have to. Let him run and see if he can get the first down. Classic Green Bay philosophy, touchdown to check down.
Here you get a look at Tommy Clements over on the sideline, quarterbacks coach of the Packers, and according to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette this morning, he will interview to become the next head coach at Penn State later this week. Had a couple of inches of snow, very early in the morning, around 5:30. I know, Brian, you were up getting a little workout in about that time of day.
I wanted more snow. You know, it's Christmas, it's New Year's, supposed to be snow on the ground. This is Green Bay, Wisconsin. Looks like Fort Lauderdale, kind of.
Stafford to throw it on first down. Lions leading. And wide open out of the 40-yard line is Brandon Pettigrew. It's a gain of 21 on first down.
Pettigrew is he and the relationship that he and Stafford have had has been so important to their development. Here they go no huddle again. This is clearly their plan to calm down the multiple rush packages of the Green Bay Packers.
Great protection. You give Stafford that kind of time, he's going to find a receiver. And for a second time in the game, that's Calvin Johnson.
Now here you're going to just see him coming on the outside, just a simple deep out move. And this is the dilemma. Do you break down and bring more pressure against the Lions, creating one-on-one matchups on the outside with Johnson, or do you stay in a shell zone defense but not get a rush on the quarterback?
Second effort there by Kevin Smith. He was tripped up in the backfield by Brad Jones and turned it into a positive play. A gain of 2 on first down, make it 3.
Quarterbacks love this. They love to run the no huddle. It condenses the play package you work from and it allows you to get to just the kind of throws you want when you get that one-on-one matchup.
Little shovel pass to Smith, and he's hit from behind and fumbled. Picked up by Morgan Burnett, and returns it to the Lions 45. So one thing about this Green Bay defense, many people feel like there are a lot of holes, they give up a lot of yards, but what they do as well, if not better than everybody else, is force the turnover.
You just got to put the ball away. Didn't realize what was coming from behind, but you're exactly right, Tom. The philosophy in the NFL so much today is don't worry about the yards, don't worry about the stats. Yeah, if they run on us a little bit, if they have a lot of passing yards, as long as we keep them out of the end zone and we generate turnovers, and that's what the Green Bay Packers are so good at in terms of generating turnovers. It was a key to their Super Bowl run last year.
Take a look at that. Since Dom Capers took over as their defensive coordinator, they have the most takeaways among all teams in the league. And this looks like the Ryan Grant of 2 years ago. There you're going to look at Capers, a native of the Buckeye state of Ohio, and Capers has been regarded as one of the great defensive minds in the game for a long time.
Second down and 1.
And again, the Packers' ability. Now, they've come out throwing the ball now. They've thrown the ball 14 times to start. That's just their 5th or 6th run. I expected to see a lot more running, but obviously the weather's not a factor. They have faith in Matt Flynn to go ahead and put the ball down the field.
Quick hit to Jones, and that's a first down to the 32. And we go to Los Angeles to Kurt Menefee for a game break.
Well, the 49ers trying to hold on to that number 2 seed behind the Packers at St. Louis. Alex Smith slips, gets back up, and then runs it in for an 8-yard touchdown. They needed it. It's now tied 7-7 as they start the second quarter. Tom and Brian.
Well, what a great turnaround season, Brian, it's been for Alex Smith.
It has, you know, and it's a great story for him to fight back through all that he has to lead that team to where they are today. It's a great story.
All the 49ers have to do is just win that game in St. Louis, and they are assured of the #2 spot in the NFC playoffs. Finley breaks a tackle and is dropped. We'll see where they mark it. Down at the 24-yard line.
This is Finley like a wide receiver on the outside, and the quarterback's going to look up every time. What are my matchups? Have they put a linebacker, a safety on him where I like that matchup? Is the corner off? They're going to put Jermichael Finley in a number of different positions to test the matchups of the Detroit Lions.
Blue 45. Blue 45.
Grant carries to the 20. And that's good enough for a first down. Well, we've heard about Steve Smith already today with a touchdown catch in the Panthers game against New Orleans. Here today we have Jermichael Finley, who came back from the injury. Alex Smith, we talked about him, and Matthew Stafford among the comeback player of the year award nominees.
Well, Matthew Stafford, for my money, should have been in the Pro Bowl. No disrespect to Eli Manning, obviously a good solid season, but Matthew Stafford had a Pro Bowl caliber year.
Blue 45. Blue 45.
Play fake to Grant. Flynn rolling, and he can run it. Recovered well by the Detroit secondary.
That's great coverage. Anytime a quarterback, and they had no idea the quarterback still had the ball, to stay alive with Jordy Nelson across the ball, across the board. Matt Flynn having all that time. Here you can see on the backside, Jones is coming across. Typically, these kind of things are wide open, but that's a nice job by the secondary and the linebackers, the Detroit Lions.
Nelson tripped up, but still managed to make the catch, and it's 1st and goal for Green Bay inside the 10. Surprised there wasn't a penalty flag there. It looked like he was tackled before he ever caught it.
Great pickup here. Just a little chip by Finley before he goes in the route. And Jordy Nelson, we talked about Jermichael Finley having that size that quarterbacks love. Well, this is a wide receiver at darn near 6'4". Gets a little bit of a grab going down. But Jordy Nelson's the same way. Sure-handed, big target, big sweep spot for the quarterback to throw to.
319. 319.
Back-to-back possessions. They've been 1st and goal. And Nelson finds the end zone. He just shoved Alphonso Smith out of the way and races to pay dirt for the 13th time this year.
Jordy Nelson already having a big impact in this game. There's another guy that many people thought maybe deserved more Pro Bowl consideration. Just old-time football there with a great stiff arm and getting into the end zone.
Of course, his buddy Greg Jennings, who is inactive today, is going to the Pro Bowl. Jennings has more receptions, but Nelson more yards and touchdowns, and the Packers lead for the first time today. Alphonso Smith and defensive coordinator Gunther Cunningham. No, I beg your pardon. There's Gunther.
Yeah, he's none too happy about that. That's a tough sequence for Alphonso Smith, getting beat by Finley and then Jordy Nelson for the touchdown. Detroit's got to get regrouped here. Obviously, Green Bay has done just that. That's why they're the #1 seed. Tough early, but have rebounded very well. They are focused and playing well.
Stephon Logan from the goal line. And still on his feet. All the way up to the 33-yard line. And from our entire crew, we've traveled together this entire season. And from our families to yours, season's greetings and a Happy New Year. some of our family when we're on the road every single weekend, as they're away from their families every weekend. Kevin Smith tripped up by Morgan Burnett, and that will be the final play of the opening quarter. So here are the Packers without some of their biggest stars, still leading the Lions. And Fox NFL Sunday continues in a moment. (10-9) Green Bay scores against Ndamukong Suh and the Lions to jump in front. So the second quarter is underway, and Stafford hands it off on the end around to Nate Burleson, and he has a first down up to the 45-yard line. Burleson has had a very nice year.
Nice job. This is a big part of what Detroit does. They fake the inside dive, they give the reverse, and then Stafford just kind of turns around a little bit. We are going to see a play-action pass off that same reverse, I promise you. This is what Detroit has had to do to manufacture their running game, because they've not had much of a running game, so it's got to be quick passes to the outside, reverses, a little bit of trickeration.
Had a lot of guys hurt in that running game. Going all the way back to training camp. Good job at best early in the season. That one sails on him, and it's incomplete.
Detroit gets back into the no huddle. We've seen this the first quarter, and now they kick back into it here. You can see with the guys that are out for Green Bay, a lot of this has preventative. For Detroit, this is due to injury. They need these three guys back next week in their first round. I hate it when it takes this long to figure out what happened. Somebody did something wrong. Let's decide quick. Did somebody move? Did someone pull them off?
False start, number 51, offense, 5-yard penalty, still hanging down.
That's interesting. You can see here, you're going to see the tap. This is what you do in the gun to alert the center it's time to snap the ball. But I guess they're saying it was too dramatic a motion by the center. When you bobbed ahead like that, he looked down and came back up. That's to draw the defense off sides.
Dominic Raiola, in his 11th year out of Nebraska, was drafted the same season as a left tackle Jeff Backus, and both of them going to the playoffs for the first time. Penalties have been a big story for these Lions. Too high for Calvin Johnson. Third down and long. And we talked about Green Bay, Brian. It was just last year we talked about all the penalties they had. And now they have the fewest in the league.
Yeah, you can see right there the combinations that they're doing over here. There you saw it between Tramon Williams and Morgan Burnett. They're working in combination, front and back, side to side, to take away Calvin Johnson.
Detroit will punt.
Well, that looked like Calvin Johnson wasn't sure that Stafford was going to him. Coverage dictated that maybe you do something else. He came out of it like he was unsure where he was going to go. They're putting Tramon Williams everywhere Calvin Johnson goes. And the question is, where does he get his help from?
Nelson waiting back at the 15-yard line, and this appears to be, no, he's going to let it bounce. And it never crossed the goal line, and the Packers fall on it, but it was touched, it looked like, by a Detroit Lion. John Wendling down there to bat it back. We'll see where they spot it. Good punt coverage play by John Wendling and the Lions.
Great job by the gunner. We used to do that with a volleyball drill. Bouncing the volleyball in. Takes a real balancing act. Obviously, you can't touch the goal line. You always bat it back. Great special teams play has got Green Bay in a hole now.
From inside their own 5, they give it to Grant. And they made some changes again along that offensive front. They've gone back to the same lineup that started the game last week against Chicago. They wanted to get a look at Chad Clifton to find out where he was. He's been out going all the way back to the first week of October with hamstring and back issues. So Newhouse back in there at left tackle. They moved T.J. Lang back to right tackle. And Evan Dietrich Smith is in there at guard.
And that was just the right amount of work for Chad Clifton coming back. They got done what they wanted to get done. I mentioned in the open that they went to pads, which is kind of unique with the new collective bargaining agreement. Here you're just going to see a weak side trap play. But you're allowed 14 padded practices, and for Green Bay to hold off to the last week to use a padded practice, that's a philosophical decision by Mike McCarthy to keep the physical edge for this team all the way to the end of the season.
Third down and 5, and Flynn gets it away, and it's incomplete. Nelson looking for a flag that is not thrown. Chris Houston all over it, but no penalty flag on the play.
You're going to see coming off the left side here, Kyle Vanden Bosch at the very end, almost got to him. Thought he was going to do one of those tomahawk strips of the quarterback's arm. And now that kind of contact, incidental coming out, as long as you don't change the impetus of the receiver and you move them from the path to the ball, it's legal. Nice series by Detroit, getting Green Bay punting out of their own end zone.
Tim Mastay puts a foot on it, and Logan from his own 46 crosses midfield. Flag comes in as he steps out of bounds at the 45.
During the return, illegal block in the back, 31 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
With a backup on the other side of midfield, and again we say Happy New Year from our family here at Fox to yours at home. Close and run camera, working videotape each and every week. 19 straight weekends on the road, Brian, going all the way back to the preseason when we were in Kansas City.
Yeah, and it is a home away from home. Great group, great family. Always appreciate their kindness and their smiling faces.
What a fabulous job they do. And what's interesting in it, we went back to thinking about the two teams we had that preseason game. Huge expectations for Tampa Bay and Kansas City, and boy, gone completely the other way for both teams. Pettigrew the catch, a gain of 5 on first down up to the 45-yard line.
And you have to go back and remember that year was such a big draft year for the Lions. 2009, their first two first-round draft choices were assured with a quarterback Stafford, but it was also Brandon Pettigrew. And these guys have grown together, become a real combination.
Catch made by Scheffler, then he lost the ball. Just ripped right out of his arms, and that is Vic So'oto, the rookie, who has the football. And what happened here?
Yeah, he's down. He was down. It got stripped out once he was on his back. This thing's going to be challenged. The flag is already out by Jim Schwartz. That would have been lethal for Detroit to have turned the ball over twice like that. But I think this thing's going to get overruled, and Detroit's going to get the ball. Here he's got control. He's down on his back, and it actually gets pulled out once he's already on the ground. This thing's going to come back and be Detroit's ball.
Detroit is challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble.
So we'll take a timeout while they take a look. Detroit challenging the call made on the field. Now remember, the call on the field is Green Bay football. Mike Pereira from our Fox Command Center. How do you see it?
This is where you get into the gray area here. Did he complete the process of the catch? He's hit simultaneously with the second foot hitting the ground. Then the ball comes loose on his body. The only thing you could come up here with to overturn it is a catch and down by contact. And again, that's the second foot there. Then the hit takes him to the ground. They're going to be looking at this one for quite a while. Walt Coleman has one of the tougher decisions to make here, whether to stay with the call on the ruling of the field or put it as a catch and down by contact. When it gets to this where it's so close, love to see them stay with the call on the field.
So you're saying that the ball is still alive there?
After reviewing the play, the receiver had control of the ball, went down by contact. So we have a completed catch. 1st and 10 for Detroit at the 44-yard line. Detroit will not be charged with a timeout.
So, Mike, your assertion was that he didn't have possibly complete control is what led you to believe that possibly could have been Green Bay's ball.
The only consideration here is to say that he didn't complete the process of the catch. Now, he did have control of the ball when he first hit the ground. As you see here, that's the second foot down. But the contact came simultaneously with that second foot hitting the ground. So in order to complete the catch, he's got to maintain control here. Ball gets stripped away. It's one of those where you look and say catch down by contact, which was what Walt Coleman said. I, on the other hand, might have stayed with that call on the field of really not completing the process of the catch before the ball stripped away. Interesting play, one of the gray area plays you get involved in.
Well, if I'm Jim Schwartz, I like my interpretation better than yours. And if I'm Mike McCarthy, I kind of agree with you. So you got it 50% right. It's either way you want to go.
Well, Jim Schwartz is here 6 out of 7 now on challenges. We thank Mike Pereira. So it is a Detroit first down, trailing 10-9. Under 12 minutes to go until halftime from the Green Bay 44. Burleson wrestled down after a gain of 5 to the 39-yard line by Sam Shields.
That was one of those smoke plays we talk about. This was supposed to have been a running play, but he saw the off coverage on the outside. Matthew Stafford, like so many teams around the league, will just raise up, throw that quick hitch to the outside, and make it an extended handoff.
Morris, and that does not fool anybody. Packers really missed Ryan Pickett. He's not one of the biggest names on this Green Bay defense, but he makes a lot of big plays.
And when you put him in the middle combined with B.J. Raji, that gives them the inside rush defense present that a good rushing defense has to have. So his loss has been felt the last couple weeks.
Detroit looking to convert on a 3rd down for the first time. Just great coverage. Great coverage by Morgan Burnett on the tight end Pettigrew.
Third down defense for Green Bay has been a problem, but it's come up pretty substantial here. Just a little angle route coming. He's got his option on Scheffler or Pettigrew. Great coverage by the secondary, forcing the quick throw.
And they're going for it on 4th down.
Why not? Why not? You're within scoring position. You got to remember this is the Green Bay Packers. They are 14-1. Why not?
Well, they just do get it off. And they convert on 4th down. The catch made by Burleson to the 29-yard line.
See, just crossing underneath. Typically when you have this down and distance, you get as many people crossing underneath as possible, hoping someone just pops open. In this instance, Nate Burleson did.
That's a new career high for Nate Burleson. 69th reception of the year. Boy, did Jim Schwartz talk glowingly about him and what a great leader he has become for this team. Catch made by Pettigrew, and that's another first down. I love the analogy you made, Brian, about maybe he wasn't a #1 like he was paid to be when he left Minnesota and went to Seattle. But on this team, Calvin Johnson being the one, he's been a mighty good 2.
Yeah, he kept telling Scott Lanahan, the coordinator, kept saying, we need a guy like Nate Burleson. We need a guy like Nate Burleson. Finally, Jim said, well, how about we get Nate Burleson? Just go to the source. And they did. He's been a great pickup.
Play fake. Stafford overthrew it. And we throw it to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles for a game break.
Well, the Bills led 21-0 at New England, but the Patriots are coming back. Tom Brady hooking up with Aaron Hernandez, 39-yard touchdown. It's now 21-14. The Patriots win. They're the #1 seed no matter what happens elsewhere. Tom and Brian.
Well, that is a huge game for New England. You look at the red zone offense. From a touchdown percentage standpoint, best in the NFL.
These Green Bay Packers are #2, though.
Burleson again to the 14. 3rd down coming up. We'll talk about New England. Should New England lose that game and the Steelers win later today with a Baltimore loss, all of a sudden the Steelers go from the 3 seed to the #1 seed.
Well, you talk about the difference, whether it be the Steelers or Baltimore even could still get that #1. What a huge difference for New England should they stumble here and relinquish that #1 seed.
Roy Matthews watches his 3rd and 4. Detroit down by a point. Fired into the end zone, and that's a touchdown for Calvin Johnson.
Well, Desmond Bishop, the linebacker underneath, I want you to watch here. He threatens pressure, but he gets out of position. Calvin Johnson just rolls in behind it, opens up that window right on the goal line. I think Desmond Bishop should have stayed more in the middle of the field to protect the goal line rather than fake the blitz and get outside.
That's a new Lions single season record for receiving touchdowns. 16th of the year by Calvin Johnson. Now the point after to make it a 6-point Lions lead right down the middle. 8:18 to go until halftime. The Lions have not won here since '92. Told you team record for Calvin Johnson is 16th touchdown reception of the year. And he is closing in quickly, only 13 yards shy of 1,500 on the year. What a talent.
Well, and you talk about incentives. This guy's got close to upwards of $5 million in incentives with certain combination of yards, touchdowns that he could be closing in on as well. I got a feeling we're not done on the day with that young man, Calvin Johnson.
They're not going to allow Pat Lee to return any more kicks, it appears. Brandon Sane will take a knee. Don't forget this coming Friday, one of the more anticipated bowl games of the season. Number 8 Kansas State, number 6 Arkansas. Our exclusive coverage of the 76th Cotton Bowl Classic, live from Dallas. Begins Friday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Fox. Gus Johnson and Charles Davis will be on the call in that one. And of course, Jordy Nelson will be tuned in on Friday. Packers will have the week off. Nelson, a Kansas State alum. Of course, Bill Snyder coming back again and playing in another big bowl game. Flynn to throw it. Incomplete. May have been deflected. and had an odd look to it. Donald Driver was looking one way, and maybe Eric Wright.
He did. He reached up and just flicked that a little bit. They brought pressure from the outside, and Wright just got enough of a hand on it to cause the incompletion. Detroit mixing up defenses as well, trying to give the young Mr. Flynn as many different looks as they possibly can.
Blitz coming, and they set up a screen. Big yardage for Ryan Grant, crossing midfield. Inside the 10, and he'll go the distance. Touchdown reception by Ryan Grant.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 25 in the offense. 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Right here, great timing on this. Great call by Mike McCarthy. They think they're going to get home on the pressure, but it was to set up the blitz. Anytime you can get a screen called against man or pressure, it typically can go to the house. Great play call, great execution.
Boy, so many things going on there. Ryan Grant barely getting a piece of the defender coming in on the blitz and makes a catch. Ask your wide receivers, Brian, how many times did you have to beg guys like Jordy Nelson or Donald Driver who made blocks to spring him 80 yards?
These guys have been together from the get-go. They play as a team. No better than an example than that. This is fun, great fun. Unfortunately, it's illegal.
Matt Flynn having a pretty good day, his first start in his 2011 year. And only the second start of his NFL career, a couple of touchdowns so far.
Of course, it doesn't hurt when you can drop off a little 2-yard pass and it turns into an 80-yard touchdown.
So after the penalty assessed due to excessive celebration by Ryan Grant, giving us our first snow angel of this 2011 year. From the 15, Logan crosses the 40 and is still on his feet across midfield to the 49. Ball's loose, or was it down?
Question is, where's the possession? Does he have possession? Great return. They're in great position after the penalty. Can't see when the ball came out there. It looked like he was down and the ball popped out, but couldn't really see for sure. Here it might be a better angle to see if the ball starts to move before he goes down. This is a little like the play we just saw earlier. Now it looks like he's down there. This is probably going to bring about a challenge as well.
Well, they just said it's Green Bay football on the field, and again you see the red flag. As soon as the call was made on the field, Jim Schwartz challenges for a second time.
It's a little like the play.
Detroit is challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble.
A little like the play we just saw with Scheffler. He had possession. When did it come out? As he came down on his back. Couple tight. Again, the fact that it was ruled for Green Bay, this may be hard to overturn because there you don't see when the ball came out. So that's inconclusive. And then from this angle as well, though this angle here to me looks like you can see he's down. Looks like he has possession as he comes down, then the ball comes out. The problem is with these views, I'm not sure there's enough for them to overturn it.
There's another look.
It looked like he had the ball and it started to pop out. That last view, boy, it's going to be a tough one. I don't know. Again, the substantial thing here is that it is ruled Green Bay's ball. I don't know that I see anything to overturn it, but I don't see that the ball really started to come out until he was on his back. That look right there may be the most substantial. I don't know. Stand by.
And the kicker, Mason Crosby, was the one who recovered it after it was stripped away by Eric Walden. Jim Schwartz has already won one challenge today, 6 of 7 on the year. Got to tell you, if this challenge were to go in Schwartz's favor, I think certainly something the league will take a look at the end of the year is, you know, he loses the ability to challenge another play the rest of the game. If you're 2 for 2 on challenges, why should you have that taken away from you the remainder of the game? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, for me, it goes even further. I'd take the challenge system totally off the field. We have the technology with replays up here. You trust the guys in the booth. If they see something that they can communicate down to correct the call, but that's just my bias. I would do away with the challenge system on the field altogether. I'm in the minority there. I know most coaches don't agree with that.
Well, here we go.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands.
Which means it's Green Bay football.
They're charged with their first timeout, and that is their last challenge for the day.
Well, and the key there is it stands. It wasn't confirmed. They didn't see enough to definitively say it came out, but they didn't see enough to overrule the call on the field. Had they ruled it Detroit's ball, then that would have stood as well. So that was a tough gray area.
Big congratulations for Walden, the man who stripped the football away. He's had a rough 5 weeks, 6 weeks since Thanksgiving. So now Green Bay with the ball and a lead, just under 8 minutes to go. And this drive starts at the Lion 48-yard line.
You take a vertical shot after a turnover. Many teams will in this situation.
Put it in the hands of James Jones, and he has a first down. Pickup of 12. And they'll spot it at the 35-yard line. You know, Brian, a lot of fans out there may be wondering, of course, the Lions fans understand the difference between a number 5 seed and a number 6 seed. And some people, you know, might say, hey, look, the oldest cliche in the book is if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And there's another one out there that says be careful what you wish for. As that one is intercepted. Picked up by Alfonso Smith. And he returns it to the 38-yard line. So the first mistake of the afternoon made by Matt Flynn.
Well, they've been going after Alfonso Smith all day, and he's finally gotten tired of it and gone there one too many times. Great anticipation coming underneath and getting the ball on a turnover, just what Detroit needed to keep themselves alive. They had the advantage with the kickoff after the penalty. They had a nice return. That was the second turnover they had. Now to get it back on defense, huge for Detroit. They went over to Jim Schwartz and said, okay, here you go. This ball's going to be yours. This was a nice gift for Jim Schwartz and the Detroit Lions. Now they got to capitalize on it.
Stafford to throw it, pump fake, and then Lawson over the defender, and that's a first down to the 15-yard line to Calvin Johnson. But, you know, talking about who you would play in the opening round. Obviously, if you're the 5 seed, and it could change, but right now, the 5 seed would play the winner of the Giants and the Cowboys. You have to go on the road. The 6 seed would play in New Orleans, where the Saints have not lost all year long, and right now, today, as we sit here, might be the hottest team in the league.
Well, no coach worth his salt is ever going to tell you, I'd rather play this team or that team. You got to play them all at some point. You're absolutely right. But I guarantee you the Detroit Lions would much rather play the New York Giants or the Dallas Cowboys, who they've already beaten, rather than go on the road and play the New Orleans Saints. So that's why part of the priority today and the passion for today was, guys, yeah, we'll play whoever, but you know what? It'd be a lot better if we had that 5th seed.
I don't think anybody wants to go down and play in the not-so-big easy these days, the way the Saints are going. Saints are leading Carolina by 7. Into the end zone. Caught, but unable to get both feet down as Titus Young.
That was a spectacular catch that never happened because it's not going to be called good, although, yeah, that could bring about a challenge as well. He got the foot in. Did he maintain process? Oh, boy. I think we're going to see once again, or is he out of challenges? Wow. This is just what you're talking about. That is one where he can't challenge it, Tom, just what you talked about. This is why, for me, the challenge system for the quarterbacks, he's calling timeout. He's hoping somebody can communicate with somebody, but this is not something that can come down out of the replay booth now. That was not called a touchdown. It had been reviewed had it been called a touchdown, but being out challenges, folks, that's a touchdown. He had control. He touched the foot down. It's an unfortunate consequence of the rules right now, given the challenge system, that someone can't say, wait a minute, this needs to be looked at again.
I want to check in again with Mike Pereira. Mike, I brought it up before this ever happened, and now Jim Schwartz cannot challenge a call on the field. I think it's one of the more ridiculous rules. Has it ever been talked about changing this rule?
Well, I mean, it has been, and of course they changed to say if you won 2 challenges, you would get a 3rd.
Right.
But this is what I didn't like about the new rule. You can only review it from upstairs if it's ruled a touchdown, but it's in the envelope of the end zone. It ought to be reviewable both ways so you don't run into this situation.
And again, we thank the longtime head of NFL officials, Mike Pereira, joining us from Los Angeles. So 3rd down, Stafford throws incomplete. He was looking for Burleson around the 5-yard line.
And I agree with Mike 100%. This league is about getting it right. We have the technical ability, as we just saw, to get it right, to communicate it down to the field that this needs to be reviewed, stopped, looked at again, whether we keep it within the envelope. I agree with Mike 100%. It shouldn't be just scoring plays, but plays that happen within the envelope that he talked about. We ought to try to get this right.
30-yard field goal try for Hanson, who's hit 29 in a row from inside of 40. And just slips this one in the right upright. She'll make it 30 in a row from inside 40 for Hanson. And the Lions, with 5:53 to go, have a 2-point lead.
And Mike McCarthy knows, ooh, I dodged a bullet there. He can look up there and see, boy, I can see those feet. If I were in Jim Schwartz's shoes, I'd be just as upset.
What do you think about Jim Schwartz just here in the last 4 or 5 minutes of this game? It looked like Logan was down on the return. The call goes in favor of Green Bay. Detroit gets the interception by Alphonso Smith, and then unable to challenge what looked like a touchdown reception made by Young in the corner of the end zone.
And you could see his guys telling Jim, hey, let's keep our focus here. He was hot at the officials for missing that. He saw what the difference was going to be in terms of a touchdown versus a field goal. Had to get his focus, because right now his team has done just that. They've rebounded from some tough breaks, got the interception, put themselves in scoring position, and obviously now up by 2. We got a lot of football left to play. But the composure of this Detroit Lion team, again, I come back to it. Let's remember, this team 2 years ago, or just outside 2 years, 0-16, Tom. How far this Detroit Lion team has come to this point, going into the playoffs, the confidence they have now, I don't think you can say enough about them. And what about some players like Backus and Rioli? They've never been in the playoff. They've been the Detroit Lions their entire career, been in this league for 10+ years. They're now going to the playoffs for the first time.
So Hanson spins it away, and again Brandon Sane, rookie out of Ohio State, fields from the goal line. And Sane brings it out to the 21. First coming up shortly, it'll be the Visa Halftime Report. How about it, Kurt Menefee?
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, we'll have scores and highlights from a busy New Year's Day in the NFL. A lot of games that really set the table for the playoffs, including New England trying to wrap up the top seed in the AFC, and the Jets trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. It's all on the Visa Halftime.
Looking forward to that. There's a lot going on, so much at stake here, the final weekend of the season involving in so many games.
And that's just what the league wanted. They had 22 teams that still had playoff hopes last week. This week, a lot of ramifications, and a lot of it having to happen within the divisions. You love it.
You know, really, the NFC playoff picture is all but a moot point outside of the huge game tonight, winner take all for the NFC East. In the AFC, You have 5 teams vying for 2 final playoff spots.
Well, for me, and I wrote about it this week, I'd like to see them reseed the playoffs. I think you could take this excitement and take it even further by reseeding the playoff teams, keeping more teams playing later into the season.
Been a good day for Ryan Grant. An 80-yard touchdown catch. He's also run it well. Talk about the AFC. I mean, you could have a change for the #1 seed, the #2 seed. Talk about the 5 teams vying for a spot in the playoff. They include Denver. Cincinnati is in if they win. Denver is in if it wins. But Oakland, Tennessee, and the Jets all with a fighting chance.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game, so many huge ramifications. We had Cincinnati last week.
Cincinnati,
excuse me. That was an impressive Cincinnati team, all but with the turnovers that we saw last week.
And across the middle. Catch made by Jermichael Finley up to the 43 and a first down.
Here you can see Finley coming across the field, and again, just the size, the matchup with Spavay, all but at 5'11", Finley all at 6'5", leads him just enough. That matchup, anytime Matt Flynn can see that type of matchup, he's going to find Finley.
Plenty of time, and the Packers have all 3 timeouts remaining. We're under 4 minutes to play. Comes in. Eric Wright got tangled up with Donald Driver.
Pass interference, number 21, defense. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
This is right here, Matt Flynn kind of winking and nodding, looking over at Driver. He sees the matchup. He's saying he's probably changing the route. Says that whatever that means, it means I'm going to go to you. And the Driver, the 13-year vet, knows how to just slow play it, looking for that back shoulder throw. Boy, just kind of incidental contact by Eric Wright. I can see why he was a little upset.
It's a 21-yard penalty against the Lions. There'll be another penalty against the Lions and a free play. Why not put it up there for Nelson? He caught it! And a touchdown! We figured it was a free play. It looked like Andre Fluella jumped off sides. And Flynn does what a smart quarterback will do and just throw it up there, and Nelson went and got it.
Number 96, defense, penalties decline, touchdown.
Now, we talked about them going after Alphonso Smith all day. He's got the better of it once with the interception. But Jordy Nelson, again, using that size. I've talked about Finley and his size. Jordy Nelson, all of 6'4". Alphonso Smith, maybe stretching it to 5'9". Just the kind of jump ball matchup you want here. Down the field, he knows it's a free play. Going to go up, use that size. Great hands, just gets his feet in bounds. Great catch by Jordy Nelson.
Well, what a player Nelson has turned into. Every scoring play is under review.
He is where of both feet, the left foot, the right foot. Does he maintain control through the process? Yes, he does. And that is a touchdown. Had complete control through the entire process. Now, if you're Jim Schwartz, you're sitting on the other side thinking, oh, okay, mine doesn't get reviewed, but this one does. But this is standard operating procedure, going to get it right. If the worst thing we do is take a little longer to kick a PAT, I'm okay with that. Pretty clear cut there. But I'm going to go back to my soapbox here. It's the last game of the season. I can do that.
Why not?
You know, we're taking a lot of time here. You know, they have the same mechanism we do to look at these replays. I got all these monitors in front of me, and our booth doing a great job replaying it to me. Well, they got the same thing just about 6 or 7 doors down, all right? why not have a process that lets the people upstairs that can look at it repeatedly? And keep in mind, the people upstairs are not allowed to chip in. They're not allowed to give an opinion. Here are the replays. And here it is. It's just a matter of, it's a matter. I think we can speed up the process.
Ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
Yeah, Mike Pereira, we've got on the line again. And Mike, I know you've known me to be on this soapbox for a while. What's your take on speeding this process up and just getting this down from the booth quicker?
Well, I just think the other element, I understand where you're coming from, but if you leave it in the booth only and you don't have a limit to the number of times that the game can be stopped, then you get back to the old 86-91 system that imploded because of way too many stoppages. It's a tough situation, and Detroit takes the brunt of a bad rule here, but it's the way it is.
Yeah, but my point is, Mike, back when you're referring to when we had this initially, our technology is so far advanced now in terms of the ability to look at these replays, the ability to communicate on the field. The result would be the same, and I agree with you. Let's do it with anything within that envelope. But we have the chance to not only get it right, like we're endeavoring to do now, but do it a lot quicker than what that took way too long. I mean, we saw this thing a half a dozen times. It took way too long, for my money, to get this decision to come out.
Well, you know, and that is a good point. And they have talked about going to some version of the college system where the guy upstairs makes the decision. And there's no question in certain situations he can make it quicker than having the referee go under the hood, because that becomes an automatic 3 minutes. But, you know, I have to say, I have been the guy that has said all along that I like the way the system works from an officiating standpoint, because they are still allowed to make the calls on the field. They're not made in New York. They're not made in the press box. They're made by the officials on the field. They are empowered to officiate the game, and this is just another form of technology to let them use it there. Well, you get away from that, and now the game becomes a little different from an officiating standpoint.
Well said. Mike Pereira, Mike, we thank you again for your time. You've been pretty much working our game almost exclusively so far here today. We have so many others on Fox. I'll tell you all about that at halftime, but we still have 3:31 to go.
And I'm going to keep pounding away. At some point, I'm going to drag the NFL into the 21st century. I'm going to do it.
Tell you what, though, they have really been, in my opinion, one of the leaders if you compare it to the other sports that are out there. I mean, baseball drags its heels in terms of replay. I think most would agree that follow the game. Stafford to put it up. First down. Left all alone is Pettigrew. And he's close to midfield. One timeout left for the Lions. Pardon me, Brian.
Yeah, that's just a blown coverage. Jarrett Bush fell off coverage. He took the crossing route and left Pettigrew wide open. You can see here at the top, right in here, he falls off coverage. They both followed Burleson underneath and left Pettigrew uncovered.
Fired to Young, and he's right at the first down marker. Steps out of bounds at the 43, stopping the clock. One timeout left for the Lions, and of course they have the 2-minute warning. That is the first down.
Yeah, they're in great shape here with the 2-minute warning coming up in 54 seconds in the timeout. They can orchestrate all of their offense, including continuing to run the ball should they choose to do so.
You know, Jim Schwartz really wasted a timeout here. If you go back to the play that wasn't reviewed, wasn't allowed to be reviewed, but he was so mad on the sideline that he probably let his emotions get the better part of him. He just completely blew a timeout.
And that's when you saw a couple players actually come over, because they recognized it was out of sheer frustration. You'd love to have that timeout back right now.
Defender fell down, and then it's caught, but incomplete, as Young could not hang on.
This is too bad under huge duress. puts the ball up with lots of air. Titus Young kind of gets side. He's got it right there. Just hang on. Just squeeze it, son. And it pops out as he rolls over. Would have been a huge play for the young rookie and for this team. Had it all the way. All he had to do was squeeze it. Don't lose the melon. Great catch, really. Yeah, the hard part's there. Now you got it into the body. Now hug it. I'm not sure he didn't hurt his shoulder a little bit. Looks like he's in a little bit of pain there. Wow.
Third down and 10. Beautiful throw by Stafford and the catch by Scheffler. A first down to the 27-yard line.
That was a magnificent throw. Watch them pick up the pressure here. Great job by the offensive line and the backs. This takes real accuracy. We've said it many times. There were questions about Stafford's accuracy coming out of Georgia. They're going to show anybody that has that question. I'm going to show them that play right there. Beautifully thrown ball.
Handed off to Kevin Smith, and he's spun down to the 21-yard line by Burnett, which may take us down to the 2-minute warning.
Great response by Detroit. The emotional letdown of giving up the big play, and now to bring it back down the field in a limited amount of time and limited number of reps. Very impressed with Stafford and the Detroit Lions the way they've responded. Well, I expected these two teams to come out running, and obviously they're not listening to me because this thing's been a throw fest, but it's been fun to watch, and now Detroit's in position to get another score, closing out the half.
20 rushing plays, 52 pass plays, and here's a 53rd. Overthrown to Johnson.
That was way too flat a throw for the jump ball king, Calvin Johnson. Matthew Stafford knows he should have put just a little air up, but let Calvin Johnson go take it off the rim.
Third down and 4.
Interesting call here because obviously given the nature of the game, you're not in 4-down territory. You're going to take the field goal, but the key here is Calvin Johnson. You got to find him. What's he going to do? What's the matchup you're going to get right now? He's inside on Jared Bush unless he gets help over the top. They've got him. Oh my gosh.
And not sure if it was thrown just slightly behind Johnson or whether that's a catch he should make, Coach Billick.
Yeah, probably should. He'd like to have the throw back. There's a mistake here. There's nothing back into here. I can't believe, I got to say, yeah, no, somebody belongs there, obviously. They brought pressure when Bush probably should have been dropping back. Yeah, he should come up with that, but you know Stafford would like to have that throw back. He couldn't believe there wasn't anybody in the middle of the field, that he couldn't lead him a little bit more. He didn't believe his own eyes. Wow, that one hurt. You talk about the missed touchdown, miscalled in the one corner, and now that missed opportunity. That's a 14-point turnaround, notwithstanding the field goals.
And then they miss on the 39-yard field goal try.
Wow.
That ends a string of 30 in a row made by Hansen from inside of 40 yards.
Always got to account for the wind here in Lambeau Field, and he just kind of, what do you golfers call it when it goes off to the right? A shank or a dog leg or whatever it is you golfers call it. In my book, that's just a miss. Wow.
Well, they missed on back-to-back plays. They missed on a wide-open receiver for a touchdown, then they missed a field goal. And now with 3 timeouts remaining, Matt Flynn, will they let him put it up and run his 2-minute offense? Now they're going to hand it off on first down. That doesn't mean they're not going to start throwing the ball.
They've got 3 timeouts, plenty of timeouts with 1:38. They're working the no huddle. They're not huddling up, so obviously they're going for it.
Green Bay has scored 58 points in the final 2 minutes of the first half this year. That's the most in the NFL. but of course that's with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. This guy's been pretty good today. That's a first down catch by Finley up to the 42-yard line, and they're in hurry-up mode again, and now they'll call a timeout.
First team timeout, Green Bay.
Well, coming up Wednesday night, January the 18th, TV's biggest phenomenon, American Idol returns an all-new year. Randy, Jennifer, Stephen, and Ryan welcome back America's #1 show, American Idol. The two-night premiere begins Wednesday, January 18th on Fox.
Looks like Aaron Rodgers is calling the plays here. Aaron Rodgers says he trusts Matt Flynn. That's interesting coming from the starting quarterback. What he means by that is, and he says, when I come to the sideline, if Matt Flynn says, hey, I saw this, I saw that, I can trust it. That's a great extra asset to have from the sideline. He's trying to do the same thing for the young Mr. Flynn right now.
Set up the screen to Brandon Sane. And that thing was blown up by Stephen Tulloch. You can't play it better than that.
Well, that was brilliant. Had he not made this play, that thing would have gone for a while. That was a great open field tackle by Tulloch. Nice call with the screen. Typical call you'd make in this situation.
Clock continues to run. That is a first down catch, and diving forward to the 46 again is Finley. And Green Bay spends its second timeout, 1 remaining. Well, coming up on the Visa halftime report, Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy tell you about New England trying to nail down the #1 seed in the AFC, and the Jets have to win, and they have to hope for lots of help to get into playoffs. Bottom line is, in the AFC, if Denver wins, if Cincinnati wins, they will close everybody else out. End of story.
Yeah, there's a convoluted process there where the Jets could actually win and then be pushed out. Like I said, I'm on the school of, you tell me if we're in, we'll come show up Saturday or Sunday.
Drop it off to 2. And he's to the 39. Clock to 33, 32. They're hurrying up. You're going to spike it or run a play. Or run a play. Catch made. Inside the 30 by James Jones. And again, they hurry to the line of scrimmage. Down to 12, down to 11.
They'll definitely clock this one. No. Decided to use the timeout.
Well, I thought they might try to get off one more play there.
Yeah, everybody was scrambling up to try to do it, but they decided not to utilize the timeout instead.
Brian, I got to ask you, and this is the kind of question I think a fan at home would be asking. If you're a Detroit Lions fan, and it's very clear they said from the beginning of the week, and we've seen it on the field here today, we are playing all out to win this game to be the #5 seed. Are you disheartened at all if you're a Lions fan that you're playing the Packers, who are sitting down some of their biggest stars, and you're losing?
Yeah, right now, right this minute. But as soon as comes Monday and you're in the playoffs, all that goes away. Whether you deserve to be there, not deserve to be there, the energy you have. Keep in mind, they haven't been in the playoffs this century.
47-yarders missed.
Two missed opportunities. But this organization has not been in the playoffs since 1999. They're going to be excited to be there. They'll get over the disappointment of today if this holds up.
Let's go to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles for the Visa halftime show, which begins right now. Just about set for the start of the third quarter. Detroit will get the football to begin the second half, trailing 24-19. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. A pile of yards put up by both teams in this one.
Yeah, and the last two possessions, they were both up and down the field, and we came away with no points. The Detroit Lions have had a lot of things break against them. That's what they're going to have to emotionally overcome here in terms of touchdowns that weren't called in the end zone, 2 turnovers, just the missed opportunities against a team that obviously is a little short-handed. This is a pivotal call in the game. Should have been a touchdown. Was called incomplete, but Jim Schwartz was out of challenges because of some earlier challenges that didn't give him the opportunity to get that corrected.
And Schwartz has no challenges remaining in this game. Let's head it downstairs along the sideline and welcome back Laura Oakman.
Thanks, Tom. I talked to Mike McCarthy, who said he was very impressed with Matt Flynn, said we went exclusively to no huddle for a while to see if he could handle it. He did. We'll continue with that. I asked him if anything changes starter-wise, if he wants to pull anybody. He said, we are playing to win. As for Jim Schwartz, he said defensively we need to play better on the outside of the field. Offensively, secure the ball, secure the ball, secure the ball. And he added, hopefully we'll get a call our way.
All right, Laura, thank you very much. So Stafford out of shotgun on first down, and he will hand it off to Kevin Smith. Smith, a gain of 8.
They've been able to create some one-on-one matchups with Calvin Johnson. When they have, it's been very favorable. We saw at the end of the first half a missed opportunity to hit Calvin Johnson in the end zone for a touchdown. I expect they're going to move him around a bit more to try to create some of those matchups on the inside defenders.
Smith again, and that's appears to be short of a first down. A lot of big plays in the first half. Started with a Titus Young touchdown, the first of 2 of them for Jordy Nelson. Calvin Johnson setting a franchise record with 16 touchdowns on the year. The 80-yard screen that turns into a touchdown to Grant. This was a play we talked about a moment ago that was not a touchdown. And this one on a free play. Second of the game by Nelson. 24-19 Packers, 3rd down and a yard. And they pitch it to Logan. And he has a first down and then some. Up to the 45-yard line.
Stephon Logan, a wide receiver. Again, we said that Detroit needs to manufacture some things. They motioned him back in the backfield, quick little fake dive, and then pitched it out to Logan on the outside. This is what the Detroit running game is. A little misdeception here, little sleight of hand. They don't have the ability, because of the injuries in the backfield, to be a straight-up running game. So Scott Linehan has to find different ways, such as this, with no running backs in the game at all right now.
Well, their receivers have over 25 carries on the year. Crossing pattern, Calvin Johnson, and he's dragged down to the 23-yard line by Tramon Williams.
You see these inside crossing routes by Calvin Johnson. What that does, it breaks down double coverage, high-low coverage. If you can clear out the underneath alignment of the linebackers, crossing Calvin Johnson across the field is a great way to break down coverage.
30-yard gain to Johnson, who now is up over 100 yards receiving on the day. 5 catches, 103 yards, including a touchdown. Put it in the hands of Burleson. And he's upended by Williams, but not before a gain of 7. Told you up over 1,500 yards now this season. He'd have to have a monster second half, off the charts second half, to catch Herman Moore's record of 1,686. But we've seen Calvin Johnson, you never know.
We had a couple of weeks ago in Oakland where it did just that.
That had trouble written all over it from the beginning. Almost looked like Stafford threw it off his back foot. Receiver may have lost his footing, and right into the arms of Jared Bush.
See, Burleson's going to slip right out of it. Couldn't keep his ground.
Well, you heard Laura Oakman report at halftime the words from Jim Schwartz about taking care of the ball on their very first possession. The Lions turn it over, their third of the game.
You can see the frustration with Matthew Stafford. He had just what he wanted, threw the ball where he wanted it. With the misstep by Burleson, threw it right into the arms of Bush. That's been the story of the game for Detroit. Missed opportunities and turnovers.
Bring that team. Bring that team.
Flynn, a short drop. What a first half Matt Flynn had. Making just his second career start. And we brought up earlier, remember last year, he got one start in one of the toughest places. In fact, statistically, the single toughest place to win a game in the NFL over the last 5 years has been New England. At least when Tom Brady's been healthy, and he was. He threw for well over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game. Got a loss. But today he's closing in on 300 yards, and we've just started the third quarter. 3rd down and 2 coming up. Aaron Rodgers inactive. We'll see him in 2 weeks.
It was interesting with Aaron Rodgers. He talked about the ability to low brain activity. You know, he just wanted to relax, and he was talking more mentally. And it is. You talk about a quarterback and the preparation a quarterback has to engage in, and it doesn't end just on game day. You come in Monday, Tuesday, to now have that week or 2 week rest is huge for a quarterback.
Bring that team. Bring that team.
3rd down play fake, looking for the big one down the middle of the field. And it's incomplete off the fingertips of James Jones. For some of the numbers we've seen, Brian, from the quarterbacks around the NFL, record-setting year for Drew Brees. But is Rodgers the league's MVP?
Yeah, and likely he will be, obviously, because of what they have done as a team. Rodgers coming off the Super Bowl win as well, but Drew Brees setting the records. I mean, it's a quarterback-driven league. All you got to do is look at those numbers to recognize that.
Short punt by Masta. We'll see where they mark it. All the way up to the 40-yard line. Good field position for Stafford and the Lions. 10-11 to play in the third quarter. The Detroit Lions, for the first time since 1999, are going to the postseason. That we know. A win today, and they'll be the number 5 seed in the NFC. A loss, and they're number 6. Which means right now they would begin the postseason at the Superdome in New Orleans next weekend. They're pitching to Burleson. And a good run by Burleson, but a penalty flag in the backfield.
Personal foul, clipping, number 51, offense. 15-yard penalty, still first down.
This is a unique call. Watch the center. The fact that it's the depth and this wide, he's engaged. They're lucky they're not calling this a chop block, but that's clearly from behind. Within the tackle box, tight to the line of scrimmage, within a yard, you can get away with that kind of cutting, but not that deep and not that wide. That's a unique call.
A couple of those personal foul penalties today against the Lions. First and 10 becomes first and 25. And Stafford drops it beautifully over the defender, and it's caught by Pettigrew, and that's a first down across midfield.
What a spectacular throw by Matthew Stafford. He was covered front, back, and the side, dropped it like the great quarterbacks do. The ability to drop it in behind coverage and in front of coverage over the top. Bush underneath it, drops it just far enough, but not so far that Tramon Williams can get to it. Brilliant throw by Matthew Stafford.
Pettigrew, 5 catches, 86 yards. Burleson, and he has another first down. Steps out of bounds at the 33-yard line.
You know, there are any number of throws that a quarterback makes that when the ball leaves his hand, you go, where are you throwing? There's a guy in front, there's a guy trailing. Williams is over the top, but the great ones know where to put the ball and how to drop it in behind that coverage. Matthew Stafford is becoming one of those upper echelon, possibly elite quarterbacks in this league.
Blitz coming. Stafford gets it away, and it's caught by Johnson. A first down to the 17-yard line.
Doing a good job with the protection. Again, they bring an inside pressure, do the Green Bay Packers. Good solid pocket. And again, throwing to an open area. That ball was gone before Calvin Johnson turned into it. Obviously, and it's interesting, you saw where Matthew Stafford got betrayed by receiver Nate Burleson a little bit earlier, yet still has the confidence to come back. I'm going to throw the ball where I need to throw the ball to be successful. I trust my guys to get there.
17-yard gain. Detroit looking to jump back in front in this back and forth battle. Pump fake, and he held on to it too long. The rookie Solono back there to get him, and a penalty flag comes in.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 93, defense. 15-yard penalty, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Oh, that's a big mistake by Walden. He came in late.
That is, and Walden's had some issues the last month or so. That's clearly going to get called. You had the sack, you moved him back to where they're obviously even stretching the field goal range, and now you give them an automatic first down inside the 15-yard line. This is very unlike the Packers. They were the least penalized team in the league this year. A couple of years ago, that was an issue. With every year, they've gotten in better and better, but that one cost them here.
They talk about Walden. He was having a great year, but then after the game in Detroit, he was arrested for felony domestic abuse. It's been reduced down to a misdemeanor, but he's not been the same player ever since that day. Crossing pattern, and diving inside the 5-yard line out of the backfield is Kevin Smith.
Just again, we talked about Green Bay doing touchdown to check down. Well, same mentality. Check the back of the end zone for Calvin Johnson. Pettigrew, no, not there, but I'll just drop the ball underneath and get some solid gains here. This has been a brilliant drive by the Detroit Lions. They just need to punch it in.
2nd and a yard from the 4.
This is the matchup you're looking for.
Oh, a dangerous throw. That had 97 yards the other way written all over it, and Bush couldn't squeeze it.
Just a little pivot route in, breakout. This thing had 100 yards the other way. If he could have just put his hands on it, of course, if he could catch the ball, he'd be a receiver, not a DB. Nice job.
Well, you're hard on those guys.
I am. I always give my. And you know what? I always said that to my DBs, and they hate it. They'd hate it when I'd say that.
You had guys like Chris McAllister and Ed Reed won you a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but they still can't catch. Same matchups on the outside.
Play clock down to 1. They didn't get it off. Boy. There are so many things about this Lions team to like. Another flag came in. Don't know if that was just a follow-up to the first one. They're going to talk about it. But one of the things that have to really bother you about this Lions team, all the penalties. And I know people in Detroit are tired of hearing about it, but facts are the facts.
We have fouls on both teams. We have a false start on number 66, the offense. By rule, that penalty is declined. We have a personal foul, number 55, on the defense. That penalty will be accepted half the distance to the goal. First down.
So another personal foul penalty against Green Bay. This one on Desmond Bishop.
Yeah, and figuring he figures the play's over. A little bit of play acting there. I don't know that they justified that. But by the same token, this is the unabated to the quarterback. The whistle had blown. I think he's a little play acting going on there, but it worked. Got him the call.
Yep.
and more importantly, a first down inside the 5.
I guess they were saying the play clock didn't run out on that play.
This has got quarterback draw written all over it. Motion the guy out of the backfield. Nope.
Throw, is it a touchdown? It is a touchdown. And that's Titus Young. Well, what a year Stafford is having. What a year indeed. Over 300 yards passing. Again.
Watch the throw here. Kind of a sidearm flick. Just kind of wings it out. Realize he can't come over the top. And a great catch. Gets his touchdown after all, after one not being recognized in the end zone in the first half.
Well, I think you would agree with this statement. We've seen a number of Lions games this year. Titus Young's got a chance to be a really good player.
He does. He's just got to mature as a veteran. He's done some dumb things. He was part of those foolish fouls that we saw flipping a ball in the face of a defender. But he's a talented young man. As he matures, he's definitely going to be an asset to go along with Calvin Johnson and Brandon Pettigrew. Shows you it's a game of inches. What should have been an interception and maybe a pick six the other way for a 100-yard return, no, turns into a touchdown for the Detroit Lions to give them a lead. Shows you the tipping points and how tightly contested these games are.
Remember, it's a safety that has forced us into what is a 2-point spread in this game. Brandon Sane bobbles right at the goal line, but brings it out to the 21. So the touchdown reception by Young to put Detroit ahead. Titus Young only 4 touchdowns all year long coming into the game today. He's just caught his second of the afternoon. Get coverage of every NFL game with NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL right now. So the Packers at the 20. Down by 2, 6:35 to play here in the third. Nelson. Spun down by right, a 5-yard gain.
Well, we talked about Detroit running these smoke routes. Jordy Nelson and Matt Flynn on the same page. That was supposed to be a run. Everybody else was running the ball. They ran a smoke route to the outside. It's prevalent throughout the entire league. Anytime you get off coverage, smoke route is simply when you have a run called and an outside receiver, you throw it to the outside receiver. You're the only two that know it because of the off coverage.
Break the run and comeback route by Nelson, and that's a first down up to the 39-yard line. Nelson closing in on a 100-yard receiving day.
This is just up against press coverage. Just his faith in the quarterback. Again, look at his size. Just a little bit of a shove there. But he's so big and so strong and so nifty as a route runner. That's tough for a DB that possibly has superior athletic skill or superior coverage ability, but you can run with the guy, but he just seems to muscle his way open every time.
14-yard gain, giving Nelson 7 receptions, 98 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. And they'll run it on first down to Ryan Grant, and he picks up 3.
You know, we talk about throwing a receiver open. Aaron Rodgers is so good at it. Jermichael Finley, that back shoulder throw. This is good coverage by the DBs. Jordy Nelson, again, guys with size throwing it where only your guy can get it. Obviously, we haven't seen a lot of it with Matt Flynn, mainly because that takes a lot of practice time to develop that. Aaron Rodgers, this group of receivers, is as good as there is in the league at throwing receivers open.
319. 319. Play action, and Flynn looking to Nelson down the field, and he's got it, another touchdown. '58-yard scoring strike from Flynn to Jordy Nelson. Flynn is a free agent at the end of the year, and you can mark it down. There are a pile of teams that will be watching this performance today.
There will be, and with a throw like this, I tell you what, we just talked about Jordy Nelson. Not only muscling your way open for the route, but just muscling your way through for the catch. He's just such a big body that you have to deal with. Nice arrow over the top. I don't know whether you expected help. Chris Houston down the middle kind of gets knotted off of it, but again, just he got his hand on it late, but he just muscles his way through it. Jordy Nelson is a guy that a lot of other people are going to watch. He comes up in free agency in not too long a period of time either. A lot of people are going to have their eyes on him. I'd be very surprised if he ever leaves the Green Bay Packers.
(31-26), Green Bay in front. Jordy Nelson, 156 receiving yards, 8 catches, 3 touchdowns, all of those single game highs. For Nelson, who's up close to 1,300 yards receiving this year. And Jordy Nelson, by the way, has 1 less receiving touchdown this year than Calvin Johnson. Go back to December the 15th, 1991, the last time Detroit won a game in the state of Wisconsin. They were down 10-7 in the 4th. Kramer to Robert Clark. Then after a defensive stop, Mel Gray, a 78-yard punt return to put the Lions ahead. They won it 21-17. How long ago was that? To put it into perspective, we'll tell you here in a minute. Four-yard gain on the first down run by Smith. 1991, Matthew Stafford still in diapers. Jason Hansen was still in college. And Brett Favre, a rookie with the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow. What were you doing in 91?
Living in Chicago, and I can't remember much about those times.
Where was I? I was still at I was at Stanford University before going on to the Minnesota Vikings.
Johnson, the catch and shoved out of bounds. Inside the 40, are they saying catch? Indeed they are. To the 35.
Control, foot. But I think you got to have right and left foot down. They need to get up here and get this thing snapped before Mike McCarthy has a chance to look at it. If I'm Detroit, it was taking way too long. He took a peek at it, Mike McCarthy did, decided not to challenge it.
First down, he did get it flat before they
just subtly dropped it.
Yep, right in front of the official, he dropped it.
Detroit needed to hustle up and put a little more pressure on McCarthy.
Green Bay is challenging, ruling on the field of the completed catch.
And just so subtle. But again, Detroit should have come up. This typically you have something in your back pocket, a quick play, left foot, right foot, control. Yeah, did he have control? Looks like he had control earlier. Now he still has control of this thing going through. Did the movement of the ball after he had the right and left foot down? At one point he had control with the right and left foot down, but then it started to move. So we'll have to see what they come up with this call.
We saw Jared Bush, naturally the defender, saying no way.
Let's look at it one more time. Left foot, right foot. Now the ball starts to move a little bit, but after the fact.
That ball's moving pretty early, isn't it?
But he has control inside the field of play. There, and then it starts to move. That's above my pay grade. Someone else is going to have to make that decision.
Well, Mike Pereira, what do you think back at our Fox Command Center?
I think I've seen you guys enough today.
You're right about that.
You've had so many plays. This is the old element of when did the contact by the defense occur? It was after the second foot was down. Watch, the right foot still down. The left foot, then the right foot. I'm sorry. Now you're going to get a third step as the ball moves around. Watch the left hand still on the ball. Now the right hand. To me, that's ball movement around. And as I've said before, if I'm under the hood looking at this, I'd like to find something that allows me to stay with the call.
Running on the field is confirmed. Green Bay will be charged with their first team timeout.
And that's exactly where I like to see. So you had control with 2 feet on the ground, and the ball moves, but disregard the ball moving. Did he totally lose possession? Did the hands come off the ball? I like the fact that they stay with the call.
And when you talk about process, Mike, that was a case where he ultimately, once he fell out of bounds, he regained control of the ball all the way through the final process of the play.
That's correct. That's correct.
But that was not what they were looking at necessarily here. It would have become a big part of that call, Brian, had the ball sprung loose after all that.
And we could have made that call up here, like I said all along. So, thanks, Mike.
Penalty flag comes down.
Full start, number 87, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That doesn't take much. Brandon Pettigrew, just a little bit of a nudge there as they were recalling the line set. The center, Rioli. Pettigrew having to move around a little bit to recognize what his obligation was, and Raiola kind of got his tight end in trouble there with reshuffling the line call.
Pettigrew with more false start penalties than any skill position player in the league this year. What a catch by Johnson. Blocked up with Tramon Williams along the sideline and run out of bounds at a 13. It'll be another first down.
Great body position. This is against Tramon Williams, one of the better corners in the league. Look at the way he leans inside. Didn't push off, just enough of a body presence. Again, the big shoulders of Calvin Johnson, that gave him more room to push away to the sideline. That's a brilliant route and catch by Calvin Johnson.
187 receiving yards for Johnson. And we still have an entire quarter and 3 minutes to play.
We might get that record after all.
We might.
A.J. Hawk broke that thing up. Brilliant play. And Hawk looked like he hurt himself a little bit. Legal hit. Didn't have control. Just needed to hold on to it just a step longer, an ounce longer. A.J. Hawk came up, shook up just a little bit after that play.
Hawk had never missed a game in his career until a couple of weeks ago. Missed back-to-back games with a calf injury. Right back into the hands of the big tight end Pettigrew. That's his 6th catch. Trying to join Johnson in the 100-yard club today. 6 yards away from it now.
Nice job. Attempted Pettigrew on the inside, then hit him on an out-breaking route. Nice call by Scott Lanahan, the offensive coordinator for Detroit. Again, the big bodies of Pettigrew and Johnson, they're lined up on the same side of the field here on the right side.
What a hit, but a touchdown on the crossing pattern out of the backfield to Smith. Smith shaken up. Boy, he took a hit.
This is where you got to show the control now. This is where Detroit's been at risk when things start to get chippy. This is a great catch by Smith, and he did take a heck of a hit in the end zone. Watch him come out of the backfield just in an angle here, little angle route. Simple throw by the quarterback, touchdown. Good legal hit by Bush.
Problem was Bush then stepped in there and let him know about it. And that's when all the extracurricular stuff started. So now this 2-point spread has been with us ever since the safety in the opening quarter. And the Lions now are going to go for 2 to try and make it a 3-point lead.
They're bunched up at the right route here, usually with a clearer, a guy to the back of the end zone with an angle underneath. Nope, now they explode out of it.
They go to Scheffler, and the 2-point conversion is good.
Great response by the Detroit Lions. Going into the playoffs, again, a team that's not been in the playoffs this decade, this century, 1999. They're on the road against Green Bay. I know Green Bay doesn't have its full complement of players. You got to respect that. But just them emotionally responding to the things that have been thrown at them, touchdowns that weren't touchdowns, turnovers, flags that have been thrown. I like the way Detroit is responding emotionally to the day. Very physical game. You can hear it right here. Boy, that was a pop. That was a pop. Getting Kevin Smith back was big for them. They lost Javid Best, which was a big part of obviously the running game. They haven't been able to run the ball consistently. They had to actually let Kevin Smith go. He comes back. He runs the ball well for them. He can catch the ball great out of the backfield. He's a good pass protector. This was a big pickup for the Detroit Lions, getting him back on the roster.
Still a long way to go. Most of the other games that kicked off at noon Central, 1 Eastern are nearly over. On this first day of the new year, and again, our family to yours, Happy New Year, and enjoy what's left of this holiday season. .207 to play here in the third quarter. Flynn and the Packers have put up 413 yards of offense on Detroit's defense, but they now trail. Catch up to the 25-yard line by DJ Williams.
I thought they were going to run the ball a great deal more, but Mike McCarthy did tell us, look, we have such faith in Matt Flynn. We do what we do. I'm not going to say he's the same quarterback as Aaron Rodgers, but he has the same skill set, and clearly they're showing it here. Not quite as many personnel groupings and formations, but obviously they have a comfort zone with Matt Flynn running their offense.
319. 319.
False start, number 71, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
One final, in fact, already in Indianapolis loses at Jacksonville 19-13. St. Louis is getting hammered by the 49ers. So the Colts will have the #1 pick in the draft.
#1 story in the offseason may very well be, do they take Andrew Luck, and what happens with Peyton Manning?
Brandon saying, well, let me ask you, Brian Billick, back when you were running the show there in Baltimore along with Ozzie Newsome, and you two would huddle up. I mean, you had a franchise player in Ray Lewis. Now, granted, that's not the quarterback position. I understand that. But if you were in the Colts shoes, do you take Andrew Luck?
This is a tough one because you're talking about Peyton Manning, the iconic quarterback maybe of our time right now. But there's some other elements here. What is his physical status? We don't know. You owe him $28 million on March 1. That's real money. That's not play money. It's going to take you probably $25 to $30 million. And you get a sack here. Oh, what's this going to bring?
And Dominican Sue. And then, was that the Aaron Rodgers?
Holding, number 62, offense. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Was that a mocking of Sue of Aaron Rodgers?
Probably was, but I don't think this young man cares. He got himself a big sack here. Here just along with the hold comes inside, stands up, and I think that was, that's exactly what it was. Guy plays with passion. Just like to see him play with a little more class, in my opinion. But a lot of passion. I was just about to say, hadn't heard much from Sue on the inside. But going back to finish off what we were saying, Tom, these are tough decisions for Indianapolis. There is nothing tougher for an organization than to transition from an iconic player, whether it's Peyton Manning, whether it's Ray Lewis, whether it's Joe Montana in San Francisco, transitioning into the next level. There are tough business decisions that have to be made with real money.
So I'm going to ask you once again. We're getting ready to go to the end of the quarter. If you're the Colts, are you taking Luck or not?
I take Andrew Luck. I think he's the best quarterback to come out since John Elway.
Thank you, Mr. Bill. Lions getting the football back momentarily. Green Bay set to punt it. And the 4th quarter set to get started. 34-31 on this New Year's Day. Big punt by Mastay. Logan being chased and run out of bounds. You know, Brian, I don't know many guys that work harder than you do in preparation of getting ready for a game every week. And you bring us information and foreshadowing just like this.
No Charles Woodson, no Clay Matthews. Their objective coming in the game, they're going to run the ball, they're going to run the clock down, and they're going to try to get out of here as healthy as they possibly can. Well, you're right. No one works harder, but no one knows less about this game than I do, okay?
Hey, God bless you. You got to be able to laugh at yourself every now and again, right?
Well, that's my problem. I've been laughing at myself my whole life, and I can't, you know, and I love the way they're going at this. You know, the fact that they're running their offenses, they're not going to run the ball, and I think they're doing it just to purposely make me look bad. All I need now is that Grinch hat I had last time we were
coming. You can mark that down.
I used to know what I was talking about. I really did.
Oh, it's good stuff.
Look at this.
There you have it. Hey, look.
You're right. I don't mean to interrupt, but you're right about Flynn now. This guy could be creating a heck of a payday for himself going down the way, because this is impressive against a playoff caliber team.
Crossing pattern, breaking a tackle, and racing to the 40-yard line is Calvin Johnson. And now Johnson has gone up over 200 receiving yards for the 2nd time this year.
What do we say about the crossing routes of Calvin Johnson? It breaks down coverage. Tramon Williams expecting more help or a jam or something inside. DBs hate it when a big receiver like Calvin Johnson gets a free release and has the entire field to run away from them.
Johnson had 214 receiving yards a game. We were there in Oakland. 211 after that catch. And Morris down to the 30-yard line. That's a good pickup on 1st down. New Orleans finishes its season undefeated at home in a rout of Carolina. They were behind in that game, remember, 7-0.
Well,
final of 45-17.
Every year we go into the playoffs, there's the one team that gets anointed. This is the team you don't want to play. For the NFC, it's the New Orleans Saints.
Well, especially down there.
Absolutely.
I don't know about here.
I don't know. Let's go. Still go. They won't shy away from the opportunity, but it's going to be a heck of a game.
Batted down by Tramon Williams. Remember, the season began with New Orleans playing here, but that was Lambeau Field in September. That was an 85-degree night.
But I will tell you, if we have a day like this or worse, which team is better configured to run the ball, the Green Bay Packers or the New Orleans Saints? Well, obviously, with Pierre Thomas, Mark Ingram, they've got Darren Sproles. I would contend that if it gets down to that, the running game of New Orleans might make the difference.
3rd and 3 for the Lions. Probably not going to attempt a field goal from this far out. So now a decision to make. Early in the game, Jim Schwartz went for it. on a 4th down and 3. And he's going again.
Yeah, again, because of the missed field goal, because of the conditions here, why not go for this? You could try to punt it down in further, but limited opportunities to do that. They've been very good in this area. They got a lot of assets to go to in this situation. Pettigrew and Johnson again on the right side in tandem, up here and up here.
Boy, Pettigrew is just chopped in half. And he's able to get up, but wasn't able to hang on to the football.
Just a little pivot route in, then out. Should have the catch. Broken up the last minute by Tremont Williams. Actually lost the ball before he got there.
(34-31), 12:50 to play. The hits a moment ago. Big shot delivered by Tremont Williams. Pettigrew could not hang on. Grant. He's run the ball pretty well today, Grant. They haven't stayed with the run. It's only his 12th carry of the day.
And that has been the vulnerability of the Detroit Lions. Great lead block there by Kuhn. This is an element that the Packers would like to build on going into the playoffs. They're still going to live off the arm of Aaron Rodgers, but they would love to run the ball. And here they're getting in 2 backs, 2 tight ends, trying to show that they can indeed do that.
You know, John Kuhn, a Pro Bowler, has always been a popular Packer. In his 5th year, a college free agent. 2 weeks ago, he drove down to Milwaukee, visited Children's Hospital. One of the patients he visited there, Nina Petrosina, cancer, and had a bone marrow transplant a couple of days later, and she's doing very, very well. It's great to hear, and it's great stuff for John Kuhn. Crowd wanted a flag, a second flag thrown on Vanden Bosch after making contact with the quarterback.
Well, that's why the whistle for the unabated to the quarterback. Otherwise, it would have been like that.
Number 93, defense. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
And again, let's explain the difference. Had he not had a clean rush at it, it would have been a free play by Green Bay like they had earlier when they threw the touchdown to Jordy Nelson. But because he was unabated to the quarterback, they blow the whistle.
You know, we brought up Nate Burleson earlier, but you know, Jim Schwartz quickly pointed out 2 of the guys that have meant so much to this Detroit story and this big turnaround, Burleson and Vanden Bosch. Great pickup, free agent pickups to go with the great drafting that he and Martin Mayhew have done since they've gotten here. Trying to strip Brandon Sain of the football. He stays on his feet up to the 47, nearly the 48-yard line. Look at these numbers, Tom. I mean, you talk about a league of quarterbacks, and what is even more dramatic to me as you look at these record-setting numbers, obviously Drew Brees breaking Dan Marino's. Right now, the number 1 and 2 seeds in the NFL are the New England Patriots and Green Bay Packers, who are currently rated 31 and 32 in the league in defense. Now, that tells you something when you can be the number 1 seed and you're last and next to last, at least statistically, yardage defense. Sacked is Flynn all the way back at the 40-yard line, and then there's a penalty flag at the Detroit 45-yard line. That's in the secondary. It's going to be a hold in the secondary against somebody.
Holding, number 54, defense.
5-yard
penalty, automatic 1st down.
Latched on here to the tight end. It just doesn't let him go. Holds on, holds on, holds on. never really lets go. And that's what drew in the quarterback couldn't get rid of the ball. Because of that, that's what brings about the penalty. And these types of penalties, we keep coming back to it. This has got to get cleaned up in the playoffs for Detroit.
So instead of a sack, Detroit gets a first down in Lion territory at the 48-yard line, and Flynn the short drop. Drops it off to Brandon Sane. And the rookie out of Ohio State has a gain of 11 and another Green Bay first down.
Well, Detroit going for that 2-point extra point looms large here, obviously, with a 3-point differential. Green Bay's got its mind on a touchdown, obviously. This has been a track meet now. Both these teams have been up and down the field, all but for penalties and missed calls in the end zone. It's the only thing that stopped either team really from scoring, that and missed field goals.
Lions 472 total yards and the Packers 436. Timeout. (34-31). The great Vince Lombardi would have liked this kind of day at Lambeau.
Just his type of day. What do you think Vince Lombardi would have said looking at those quarterback numbers we saw? Is that for career? Were those career numbers?
Coon on a first down carry inside the 35.
Seriously, you think about it. Bart Starr was a sub 60% career passing guy. And keep in mind, those were in the age of 20, 25, 30 throws was a big throw day. So the numbers that are going on today is mind-boggling.
Of course, I said to you a minute ago, Brian, in the commercial timeout, we showed you those 5 great quarterback numbers. There are well over half the teams in the league that don't want to hear anything about great quarterback play because they have not seen it at all.
No, it's a league of extremes right now. You either have one or you don't. If you have one, you're in the playoffs. If you don't, you're sitting in a booth in Green Bay, sitting with a buddy you enjoy calling games with.
Of course, we're often remembered and reminded about when they put these in back when Lombardi was a coach, the heating coils underneath the playing field and how it froze once they put the tarp over top of it. Those days have changed. They've gotten better with time and learned their lesson.
Would you want to be that guy to go tell Lombardi, you know that system we got? You could be shipped off to Siberia. It's okay. That's about the same.
But that Ice Bowl game was 44 years ago yesterday.
Wow. Now I do feel old.
Why, because you remember the game?
I do remember the Ice Bowl game. I do.
Donald Driver to the end zone.
Now we talk about crossing routes as a great way to break down coverage.
They might be asking Aaron who.
Yeah, we got a quarterback controversy in Green Bay, you think? Let's start that
402 yards
wow.
for Flynn and 5 touchdowns. Consider this. Until last week, Aaron Rodgers had never played an NFL game in his career where he threw for 5 touchdowns. Flynn, in his second career start, has thrown 5.
Cha-ching. This young man may be in for a payday pretty soon.
What an unbelievable day for Flynn. Young man who backed up Jamarcus Russell at LSU for 3 years. His only year as a starter, they won a national championship. And here he is against a team going to the playoffs, and he's thrown for over 400 yards. What an unbelievable offensive display by both teams here today. 473 yards for the Packers, 472 yards for Detroit.
I told you they were going to put it up. It's been fun anyway.
And our final wishes from our crew. Wishing each and every one of you a Happy New Year. Boy, Hollywood like there, Brian Billick. Where's your smile with that good-looking group? Everybody's smiling.
I was shopping all day, man. I don't smile when I shop. There he goes again.
Full start, number 87, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And of course, here is a future member of the Fox family, Brian Billick, due to become a grandfather for the very first time in the month of March.
How about that?
Thoughts and prayers on a happy, healthy delivery.
Thank you so much. Max. I want to call him Max. No one's buying it.
It's not your job.
I know, but I love the name Max. If you're listening at home, make it Max. Thank you, guys. That's great.
I think your daughter and son-in-law will figure out a name. So the Lions now in catch-up mode, and sacked is Stafford. And that's Brad Jones who got him.
Just simply coming from the outside. Like we said, Green Bay's got to be a little creative with the way they put pressure on, particularly with Clay Matthews out of the game today. Matthew Stafford can't quite step out of it. We were with these guys a couple weeks ago, 98 yards.
Yep.
For them to overcome and beat the Oakland Raiders.
And that was under 2 minutes to go in that game with no timeouts. Stafford out of the shotgun from his own end zone. Jump ball. And batted away, and Johnson wanted a flag. Both Tramon Williams and Charlie Pepper back there.
But once the ball gets tipped, it's all rules are off. You can get away with anything you want. So he has as much right to it. Now the ball's up in the air. Now he gets a hold of him. That's what he was upset about. Good play by Tramon Williams.
Beg your pardon, it was Jared Bush there, along with Williams. So Johnson off to the sideline on his 3rd and 22. The Lions will punt from their own end zone. Second time in the NFL this year where both starting quarterbacks have thrown for over 400 yards. We remember that Week 1 game. That was Tom Brady and Chad Henne.
Yeah, that's the 400 is the new 300. Used to be that was the benchmark. If you got the 300-yard game, if you had to throw for more than 300, usually meant you lost. Now it's a new age. The 400-yard mark seems to be the benchmark.
Fair catch. He's already signaled down. Was Jordy Nelson at the 47. So here comes Flynn. First start of the year, 402 yards. Ho hum.
Well, Jim Schwartz is going to have another conniption fit because Jordy Nelson never had control of this ball right here. Now, unfortunately, this is not reviewable. But to my way of thinking, there was no control. That should be Detroit's ball.
Hey, I'm not sure about that. He caught the ball on the right side of his body. We'll go back and look at it again. Mike Pereira, what do you think here? It's not reviewable. What do you think?
I think it's a muff. I don't think
he
clearly gets possession of the ball long enough. It's loose there. You know, it always looks like it's slow motion, but to me, you've got the potential muff there, but it's not reviewable. Even if Schwartzy had a challenge left, he cannot use it in this situation, period, because of the fact that possession versus muff of a kick is not reviewable.
Well, we thank Mike Pereira for being a third member of our broadcast team up here in the booth today. So we've been going back and forth all day long. Of course, up here in the broadcast booth, you're allowed to stand up. Scott Snyder, been our spotter every single game this season. Tom Barbary, he's all bundled up down there because he's gotten a little soft living in Jacksonville, Florida. But you're not soft, Brian Billick.
Nah, I may be old, but I'm not soft.
False start, number 74, offense, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
And I don't want to forget about, to your right, Bill Harmon, who joined us about midway through this season. It's been delightful having him with us all the second half of this year as well.
It takes a village, right?
There's Billy.
It takes a village to get it all done. This is the guy that points. This is the guy that
Billy made all that money in the bond market and then walked away from it all.
Bill was the one that told me they were going to run the ball a lot today. I'm going to throw you under the bus.
Flynn is dragged down. That'll be officially a sack for Willie Young, his third of the year. The Lions are going to get the football back, trailing by 4.
No, this really couldn't shape up better for the Lions. I mean, with Matthew Stafford and the way he's playing, to now, if they can indeed take the length of field, as we said earlier, we did that Oakland game that we said that may be a tipping point for Matthew Stafford in his career, taking him 98 yards with under 2 minutes to go to put them in position to make the playoffs here in Lambeau Field, now inside the 10 with 5 minutes left to play. Wouldn't be another bad career-defining moment for him if he could pull this off.
Coming up next, 2 games left on the Fox side of our doubleheader. Most of you will see the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What a huge disappointment the Buccaneers have turned out to be this year. Unbelievably.
Well, they were so young last year and outperformed that youth, didn't turn the ball over. This year, some of that youth cropping up, and they turned the ball over a great deal. Josh Freeman's a good quarterback, did not have a very good year. Just need to kind of get him back on track in terms of the ability to put the ball down the field and not turn the ball over. They're a young team. They'll be back.
Well, here we go. Matthew Stafford with a chance to try and march down the field and win it. Short completion on first down, a gain of 3 to Young. And again, the difference will be for the Lions. If they win this game, they're the 5 seed. They would play either at Dallas or the Giants. Winner of tonight's game next week. If they lose, they go to New Orleans. And that is assuming that Atlanta beats Tampa Bay. Wow. In traffic, Pettigrew with a reception. First down to the 33.
You talk about trusting a receiver, throwing a receiver open, as we say. Just that you can't cover it better than that for the Green Bay Packers. Desmond Bishop trailing the tight end perfectly.
Short and safe. Burleson to the 45.
The thing that impresses me about Matthew Stafford is he's been able to do what he has with the Detroit Lions. We talked about their inability to run the ball. They're second to last in league in rushing attempts. So it is all on the arm of Matthew Stafford. He's done a brilliant job of it all year long. He's going to have to continue it on for them to get a win here.
Down the field is Johnson, and it's slightly underthrown, but a flag comes in.
And
maybe a 27-yard penalty depending on the spot of the foul.
And this one is so tough. Tramon Williams is going to get called. The ball was behind the receiver. You slow down, you can't help but get run over.
There are 2 fouls on the defense. Offside, 97 on defense, lined up in the neutral zone. That penalty's declined. Pass interference, number 38, defense. Ball being placed in the spot of the foul. First down.
This is the correct call, but this is a tough one. Tramon Williams trailing the play. I want you to watch right here. Really doesn't impede the receiver, but it's so far behind. Calvin Johnson slows down, and that's what brings it. He had to hold a little bit of the arm there, but that's the toughest one as a coach, because now you look at your player. What do you tell him? What do you tell him not to do? That one's tough.
36-yard penalty. So after starting this drive from their own 7, they have the ball at the Packer 27-yard, 28-yard line. What a catch by Scheffler inside the 5.
The confidence that Matthew Stafford has in this receiving core, whether it's Calvin Johnson, Brandon Pettigrew, here Tony Scheffler, to throw that over there, trailing, in this case, safety or DB compared to a linebacker, doesn't matter. Using the size that this trio has, this is a heck of a drive.
Scheffler out of Chelsea, Michigan. Came over from the Broncos prior to last year. Big catch there. In the corner. Tangled up. Flagged out again on Williams. I tell you, I don't know what a defensive back's supposed to do. Oh, my. This one will go against Calvin Johnson.
Pass interference. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
Just the hand fighting that goes on between two great competitors here. Yeah, it looks like that last little pull. He pulls on the right arm just as he's going up right there. Had he not done that, I think he was probably afraid with Williams on the inside. Might have come away with an interception. He might have saved an interception there with pulling on that arm.
Career high for Stafford, 465 yards. Flynn has thrown for 407. Scheffler getting tangled up with Pepper down near the goal line. Second down and goal, rather, after the penalty a moment ago.
Well, they don't need nothing but end zone shots here. What did we talk earlier about it? It's the Green Bay philosophy. It's everybody's philosophy. I'm not going to identify it just to Green Bay. Touchdown to check down. Look into the end zone, see what you have there. If not, take the yardage underneath. You usually have a check down guy or a shallow crossing man underneath whatever you're putting into the end zone. You got a lot of options here for Detroit.
All those numbers for Stafford this year, Detroit Lions franchise records. And another touchdown by Stafford, and again it is Scheffler.
Wow. This ball can only be thrown in one place with nothing but green shirts. He had to assume he had a guy there. And it's amazing. People would be amazed to see what a quarterback can't see. Green shirts draped all over him, putting the ball in only the place that his guy can get it. Tell you what, that's an elite throw.
And again, to get back to something that Brian, and it was just my opinion. I made the comment earlier, I told you 2 days ago. Stafford, coming into play today, had thrown 10 more touchdowns than Eli Manning. He had thrown fewer interceptions than Eli Manning and had led his team to more wins than Eli Manning and the Giants. The separation in all those categories has grown more in Stafford's favor with another monster game today, and Stafford's not going to the Pro Bowl.
And that's not being disrespectful to Eli Manning.
No.
He's very deserving, has had a great year, but Matthew Stafford, look right here. He knows exactly what he wants to do. He knows where Scheffler's going to be, but I want you to watch his eyes now. Just the laser vision and being able to put the ball, how about that? Being able to put the ball exactly where I want to put it, as though the ball is connected to those eyes. The size of his receiving core, tell you what, this is impressive. The Detroit Lions, they haven't played flawless today. Obviously, Green Bay's without a few players, but the way they've emotionally responded to every situation, you know what, partner? We're not done yet. It's 2:39. Matt Flynn's going to have a chance to come back in and build on his own legacy if he can take the Packers back down the field.
Well, they have Pat Lee back there after he botched back-to-back would-be kickoff returns in the first quarter. Brandon Sain standing about 4 yards in front of him. Believe it or not, today is the first time in NFL history ever where both quarterbacks in a game have thrown for over 400 yards and 5 touchdown passes each.
And you know what I love? You talked about it earlier. Matthew Stafford, #1 pick overall in 2009. On the other part of that equation, Matt Flynn, a 7th-round draft choice, backed up with Jamarcus Russell, who was the #1 pick, an abject failure in this league. It just shows you what it takes to play in this league and have this level of production. You know, particularly at the quarterback position, you couldn't ask for a better contrast. A 7th-round draft choice, an afterthought, and the first overall pick.
For Flynn, perhaps even more amazingly, only the 2nd Packer ever to throw for over 400 yards in a game and have 5 touchdowns. I give you 2 guesses as to who the other one was. Your first 2 would be Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. Guess what? Not right. Got to go all the way back to 1969. Don Horn, the only other Packer to throw for over 400 yards in a game and 5 touchdowns. And now it is Flynn's turn as he finds Jones for a first down to the 37. Packers 1 timeout remaining, and they do have a 2-minute warning. Brandon Sain out of the backfield to catch. Of course, the difference between the Lions' last drive and this Green Bay drive, Packers need a field goal to tie it. The Lions needed a touchdown to go ahead.
That is the end of the 3rd quarter.
So at the 2-minute warning, Green Bay with the football at their own 43, down 3. Well, the question is, can Ndamukong Suh and the Lions slow down Matt Flynn now on this perhaps final drive?
Well, in football references, when you look up the word track meet, they're going to have this game in the dictionary because it has been a track meet.
Flynn steps in, underthrows Nelson. And again, if you're just joining us, the Lions made it very clear. They want that number 5 seed. And Jim Schwartz would not say because we'd rather play the NFC East champion.
No
coach he never said that. He said,
but that's what they're thinking.
He said, yeah, and his explanation to us and to his team is look, if we're the number 5 seed, there's a chance, distant albeit, but a chance we could have a home playoff game. That would have to mean that the Atlanta Falcons, if they were the 6th seed, would win on the road twice along with the Lions twice.
Bushman, number 90, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, what a difference on a penalty like that right there. 3rd and, 8 now that gives them an automatic first down. It was a 3rd down and 3, and the penalty gives them an automatic first down.
With no additional time off the clock, which is obviously a factor here. That's the discipline, the penalties we talk about. Detroit has got to get their hands around going into the playoffs.
55, watch it twist.
And a triple coverage and nearly intercepted by Brandon McDonald.
Yeah, this was forcing it just a bit. This is on a 400-yard day, feeling like I'm Superman right now. And that may have been going a bridge too far. That could have been lethal for him. And as exciting as it is for the offense in these numbers, you know, these two defensive coordinators right now, you may have to keep them away from sharp objects after the game because they're not going to be liking this film.
Nelson on a crossing pattern, hit at the 46. It'll bring up 3rd down and 5. And not to take away anything from Detroit offensively, but in all fairness, Dom Capers sleeps maybe a little bit better at night. He's got 3 of his horses that have sat this one out.
Yeah, absolutely.
On defense.
But this has been an issue for the Green Bay Packers in terms of their pass defense.
Oh boy, looking for Jones. Got it. He beat Chris Houston for a 40-yard gain.
Deep pass down the field is thrown at 40 and 5. That gives you just enough margin for error on the outside. I guarantee you that thing hit exactly at 40 yards with the fall away. That's as perfectly thrown deep ball as you can see in the NFL this year. A little bit of wry smile going, yeah, that's just the way we practiced it.
What an unbelievable performance here by Matt Flynn. Handed off on 1st and goal inside the 5. It's Kuhn. Flynn making his first start of this year, the 2nd start of his career. Told you
First,
3 years of backup.
Team timeout.
To Jamarcus Russell at LSU, the only year he got a chance to start. He led LSU to the national title, beating Ohio State at the Superdome in New Orleans. And all 4 years here, he's backed up Aaron Rodgers. For Detroit, a win, and they have the 5 seed in the playoffs. A loss and an Atlanta win. Atlanta would win the tiebreaker, thus be the 5th seed. They beat Detroit, you may remember, early in the year. The Giants and Dallas will decide the NFC East later tonight.
Quick, yeah, 54. 54. Yeah.
Looking for this matchup down at the bottom of the field with Finley right here.
And they found it. I don't know how long Matt Flynn's going to play in the NFL, but it's hard to believe he will ever have another day like this. He has just set a Green Bay Packer franchise record of 6 touchdowns in a game. And you got to remember, this is the only guy in the last 20 years who has started a game at quarterback for the Packers outside of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Amazing. Simply amazing. Point after makes it a 4-point lead for Green Bay.
Well, he knew exactly where he was going. He was going to use the size of Jermichael Finley just to work underneath on Spivey. He's loving it. He's loving it. Aaron Rodgers going, the day I missed. That could have been me. He's happy for the young man. Been behind him the whole year. Been helpful. A real resource for him. He talked about, you could tell it was very genuine from Aaron Rodgers and the regard he had for Matt Flynn.
Well, if you're a Lion fan, obviously you're so excited about going to the playoffs. But boy, this is a backup quarterback strutting your defense like this. A trip to New Orleans next week does not sound good.
No, but they're gonna put this behind them very quickly. I promise you. Be excited about being in the playoffs. They'll get corrected by the film. Jim Schwartz will move them on very quickly.
Well, this one not over for Mr. Stafford.
No, he's looking up the clock. As long as they don't put it down the 2-yard line, he's been here before, like we said with the Oakland Raiders. Plus he's got a bunch of timeouts. Boy, you can just see it all here.
Getting a look at all 6 touchdowns. Brought up earlier last year when he started at quarterback for Green Bay. The first time anybody besides Rodgers or Favre had started a game since September of 1992. In that game, he threw 3 touchdowns in a loss at New England. And here he is in his first start this year, second career start, and he breaks an all-time Packer record with 480 yards and 6 touchdown throws. But again, this one is not over yet. There are a lot of smiles on that Green Bay sideline. But we've seen Stafford do it before. And Logan, a very dangerous return man. Take a knee here. Won't even have to do it. It's out of the end zone. So you have 1:10 left. You have to have a touchdown. And you have 2 timeouts remaining. Speaking of Lions, or team records, Lions records today set as well in yards and touchdowns by Mr. Stafford. Calvin Johnson for a catch, a first down up to the 31-yard line.
At some point, there has to be the uncharacteristic big play down the field, even though Green Bay is all backed up in a total prevent. Let a Calvin Johnson or Brandon Pettigrew go up and get a jump ball. You got to come up with a big play when you need a touchdown. Now under 40 seconds.
Smart play there by Smith, getting out of bounds at the 42. And that'll be good enough for another first down. 2 timeouts remaining for Detroit. In traffic again by Johnson. And a timeout taken by the Lions. Look at this.
Just the concentration. At this point, why not throw it in there? Williams underneath, all over the play. What a physical talent. This guy's ability, the size, the reach, the vertical jump. Wow. Well, they're within striking distance. It's going to take another couple catches like that into coverage in order to get him into the end zone. 4-point differential, so obviously getting into field goal position does no good.
Great protection all day to throw it. And it's intercepted by Sam Shields. So that will tie a ribbon around a remarkable 15-1 regular season for the defending Super Bowl champion Packers.
They celebrated last night, New Year's Eve. They're going to celebrate back-to-back tonight. You're right. 15-1 is nothing to sneeze at, particularly coming off a Super Bowl year. And they are appreciative of it here, obviously, in Green Bay.
That streak will carry into perhaps next year, who knows? And it might carry into the playoffs this year.
And Mike McCarthy gets his sweep of the division. First time ever for the Packers. That was the carrot he threw out to his team all week long.
First Packer team to sweep the NFC North since divisional play began. Congratulations to Matt Flynn. Brian Billick, it's been a great season. Enjoyed every minute of it. For Brian Billick, Laura Oakman, our entire crew, stay tuned for the second half of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader.